Please, watch responsibly.
Later in St. Louis. The ultimate home run derby comes down to the final 2 days as these friendly rivals battle for baseball immortality. Next on FX Baseball Saturday. FX welcomes you to Busch Stadium in St. Louis, the site of 34 of Mark McGwire's 66 home runs. 2 games remaining in the regular season. Today, the third of a 4-game set between McGwire's Cardinals and the Montreal Expos. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Baseball Saturday. I'm Kenny Albert with Ken Brett. Ken, as we entered Busch Stadium a couple of hours ago, a World Series type atmosphere here in St. Louis.
Yeah, here's 2 teams that are really not in a pennant race, but you're right. This is a World Series atmosphere. Why? Because of this famous home run race. Don't forget, Mark McGwire hits 4 home runs in 4 games to start the season. But by June, it's really not much of a race. He's leading Sosa 24 home runs to 9. Sosa has a vicious June with 20 home runs. We are going down to perhaps the last pitch, the last at bat.
Sosa coming back from the 15 home run deficit in May. They both went deep last night, and they are tied at 66.
Last night, of course, Sosa goes deep off his friend Jose Lima. He has given up 3 home runs. This, of course, taking place in Houston. Within 1 hour after hitting a foul ball home run, McGwire goes deep. They are tied, and it's going down to the end.
And this afternoon, it will be Dustin Hermanson on the mound for the Montreal Expos against Mark McGwire. Let's check out how both McGwire and Sosa have done in their careers against the starting pitchers they will face the next 2 days.
Not much of a story here between McGwire and Hermanson, and of course somebody he hasn't faced in tomorrow's ball game. Sosa, I don't care who he's facing. He's getting good pitches. He's trying to win, get into the playoffs.
Well, Fox Sports News correspondent Sam Marciano has covered the home run chase since McGwire hit number 55 back in late August. Sam joins us down on the field. Mark, Sam has said publicly over the last couple of weeks that he would love to finish tied with Sosa. Privately, is that how he feels?
Well, you're not getting much from him in that department, so I think what you do is you go to the people who are closest to him. A guy like Tom Lampkin, one of his closest friends on the team, he says that if you go deep down, it probably means something to Mark, but for the most part, it doesn't. On the other hand, if you talk to Randy Johnson, who knows him since his days at USC, he says that he thinks that McGwire is being politically correct when he says that he hopes that he and Sammy Sosa end up tied.
Sam, you've been covering this team for a long time. What do you personally bring away as perhaps one of the great experiences?
Well, the first home run I saw was 56, and that was a lot of fun. That was the one where the fan went through the tarp down in Florida. And I think just seeing the fans' reaction to McGwire, how they follow him around, the mass of people that follow him around, and knowing that really he's just a very down-to-earth kind of guy who just wants to be treated like everybody else. But that's going to be pretty tough now.
Thanks very much, Sam. Great job during the home run chase. McGwire 66. Sosa 66. It's been a celebration of baseball during the 1998 regular season. The David Wells perfect game. Cal Ripken Jr.'s streak comes to an end. And, of course, Sosa and McGwire.
It was the merger of America's 2 largest railroads. When the last spike was driven, America was officially open for business. Now, it's happening again. 2 of the largest networks on Earth have become one. A single network that can handle all the data traffic of all the other carriers combined. Introducing MCI WorldCom. Now the world is officially open for business.
Hey, go work today, kid. Thanks.
Slow-crafted Sam Adams. All in due time. this might be a good time to talk about the Michelin X1. Thanks to Michelin technology, it gives you long mileage and better wet braking than any rain tire. And that should make everyone on a wet road happy.
Michelin, celebrating 100 years of innovation.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Deardorff. Where would you go for a home equity loan? Let's ask.
Well, banks have the best rates.
But banks only lend money when you don't need it.
Advanta National Bank is different. They lend money to people when they need it.
Right. With my credit?
They made their first loans 45 years ago to teachers who had trouble borrowing. They helped out when others wouldn't.
This is a bank, right?
With customers who get the flexibility only a national bank can offer, right over the phone.
Got to move all your accounts there.
Nope, just call Advanta. One of their loan specialists will show you how to use the equity in your home to pay off all of your bills. Get one low monthly payment and save hundreds of dollars a month, plus a tax deduction.
You'll wait for some board to approve.
You'll get fast approval over the phone. And your money in about 10 days. You don't need to have money in the bank to get money from a bank. To get the loan you want, call Advanta at 1-800-706-0649. You'll see they're different. Hey, they don't keep banker's hours either.
Instant comedy with the Groundlings, tonight at 10 on FX.
Baseball Saturday on FX is brought to you by Sam Adams, a better glass of beer. And by MCI, one team, one company, one local to global connection. Back in St. Louis, Kenny Albert, Ken Brett, a beautiful afternoon. 85 degrees for the second to last game of the 1998 regular season. Another sellout. Cardinals have gone over 3 million in attendance for the first time since 1989. They have set a home record for attendance in one season. I wonder why.
Well, I think it has something to do with that guy that hits the ball 500 feet. Number 25 there, Mark McGwire. I mean, he is the story of baseball. He and Sammy Sosa, they have fallen in love with this guy here in the city of Seattle or in St. Louis. And, you know, I think that, you know, if they played 20 games out of first place from now to the end of the year, this place would sell out.
Last night, of course, before a sellout crowd, Mark hit number 66. He went 2 for 4.
2 for 4 last night, including the 1 home run. First time up, he takes a base on balls. In the third inning, lines out to left field, right off the end of the bat there. The ball did not have a whole lot on it, give you an idea of his strength. Next time up, of course, the big home run. Middle of the plate, about belt high, no doubt about it, number 66. And his last at bat in the 7th inning, or his 4th at bat, singles into left field. And then one more at bat before the place empties out. Check swing on a strike 3 call.
Shane Bennett, the victim of number 66. Or was it 66 and a half? Remember what happened last Sunday in Milwaukee.
You know, the funny thing about that story is the man that caught the ball says he didn't do anything wrong, and of course he's been fined. He got kicked out of the ballpark. If I were him, I would fight the fine, number one, because I don't think he did anything wrong. I think the umpire perhaps made a little bit of a judgmental call, might have guessed wrong, but that's the way baseball is. But the bottom line is you cannot change an umpire's decision. They are tied at 66.
McGwire leading the Cardinals onto the field. Cardinals have won the first 2 games of this series. 6-3 on Thursday night, 6-5 last night. They've won 10 of their last 12. The Expos, like the Cardinals, playing out the string. And for Felipe Alu's club this afternoon, Wilton Guerrero, the second baseman, will lead it off, followed by center fielder Terry Jones. First baseman Fernando Seganol bats third. Vladimir Guerrero, a team record 38 home runs in the cleanup spot. Then Derek May, the catcher Bob Henley, third baseman Shane Andrews, shortstop Orlando Cabrera, and the pitcher for the Expos this afternoon, Dustin Hermanson, against 23-year-old right-hander Manny Ibar with a record of 6-6. He went 10-0 in AAA. This is his 4th stint with the Cardinals.
You know, Ibar's had an interesting season with the St. Louis Cardinals. He's up in the big leagues as a starter, gets sent to the bullpen. From the bullpen to the minor leagues, where you said he goes 10-0. back up to the big leagues as a starter. I guess the big question about Manny Ibar is what are you going to do with him? You see his numbers right there, 84 hits, 76 innings. One of the things that Dave Duncan, the great pitching coach of St. Louis, told me, he does not change speeds often enough. They really don't know what they're going to do with him next year. The basic pitches, fastball that moves, slider, and a changeup.
Defensively, for the Cardinals, third in the National League in double plays, Eli Marrero behind the plate this afternoon. Brian Jordan not in the lineup. He flew to Los Angeles last night to attend the funeral of track star Florence Griffith Joyner. Jordan trains with Bob Kersey here in St. Louis. Joe Ewing, the second baseman for the Cardinals this afternoon, playing in his 9th major league game. Wilton Guerrero will lead it off for the Expos here in St. Louis, but Sammy Sosa is heading to the plate in the top of the first inning at the Astrodome. So let's take you to Houston and Fox Sports broadcasters Tom Brenneman and Bob Brenly.
We welcome those of you watching FX, where the St. Louis Cardinals and the Montreal Expos are set to tee it up. We're just underway in the first inning. Morandini, a one-out single, and here's a man everybody is standing and cheering for, Sammy Sosa. Indeed, a year to remember. His 66th home run of the year last night. He has 3 home runs in his last 2 games.
And had an unbelievable batting practice. Not that that counts for anything, but Sammy was hitting him up in the 3rd deck here at the Astrodome, straight away center field into the 2nd deck. Really put on a show for the Astrodome fans.
Morandini at first, 1 away. And Sosa looks at ball 1. Sammy enters today's game 157 runs batted in. That is tied with the Rangers' Juan Gonzalez for the major league lead. So not only #1 in home runs with McGwire, also #1 in runs batted in. High fly ball down the right field line and foul ground. Bagwell has room, and Sosa retired on the weak foul ball.
So Sammy Sosa 0 for 1 here in St. Louis. Wilton Guerrero grounded out to the 3rd baseman Tatis, and now Terry Jones singles to center. Langford could not make the catch, so the Expos with a base runner with 1 out here in the top of the first inning against Manny Ibar.
Ibar, of course, one of those pitchers that could be anywhere next year. When you talk about St. Louis and their pitching staff, Dave Duncan said before the ball game, really don't know. It's depending really on what we need next year, but they like his arm. They like the fact that he went to the minor leagues, worked hard, and did win 10 games in a row. So, you know, another one of those pitchers that you can question next year. The Cardinals this year, Kenny, give you an idea of how their pitching staff has fared. 15 starting pitchers, and that's way too many.
Here's the first baseman, Fernando Seganol. Fly ball center field. Langford back on the track, and he makes the catch for the 2nd out. Ibar's last appearance on Sunday, Ken, an emergency start. Kent Merker unable to go due to a blister, so Ibar made the start, actually hit a home run in the game against the Brewers. Scott Carl went 5 1/3, allowed 3 runs.
I think the home run, I think it's contagious here in St. Louis. You just get the feeling where you're going to take one deep anytime.
Well, Vladimir Guerrero has taken it deep 38 times this season, a new Expos record.
You know, I always thought that when I heard that was the record, breaking the 36 by Henry Rodriguez. I'm surprised they haven't had more than that over their long career, but 38, of course, is a very good year. And here's a guy that's got all the tools, and they're thinking this guy's a potential MVP down the road.
Especially when you think back to some of the names: Andre Dawson, Larry Walker, Andres Galarraga, who have worn the Expos uniform, Rusty Staub.
And all the guys who wore that uniform and were traded or pretty much just let go because of financial considerations. I mean, it's an all-star team.
Well, Guerrero has his finances in order, signed a new 5-year, $28 million contract in late August. Joined by by his brother Wilton, who came over in that deal from the Dodgers at the trade deadline.
They got the shortstop, Grutzelenik. They got Carlos Perez. And of course, what did they give up? Gave up some of the younger players. I wonder if the Dodgers have any younger players left.
2 outs. Jones, the runner on first. As Guerrero fouls it off, 2-1.
Take a look at Marrero here. Super slow-mo. We're going to get a shot right off the side of the mask. That's going to sting a little bit, but it's not going to hurt. Of course, that mask has all that padding in front.
Easy for a former pitcher to say.
Yeah, that's why we don't wear that stuff.
Jones on the move, and Guerrero fouls another one off back behind first base. The Atlanta Braves have defeated the New York Mets by the score of 4-0. The Mets' 4th consecutive loss. San Francisco, the Giants have won 5 straight. They lead the Rockies 5-1 in the 4th.
And of course, if Chicago does not win, San Francisco, with 1 game left, would be in a position to win 1 game and go to the wild card. And they were always the team that was 3 and 4 games out until just recently when they put together this winning streak.
A victory today would be their 6th in a row. Mets have lost 4 straight. Cubs have dropped 2 in a row. What a week it's been in the National League wild card chase. The Texas Rangers clinched the American League Western Division last night. Jones goes. Ground ball to the shortstop, Ordaz. And that will do it for the Expos in the 1st. Coming up for the Cardinals, McGwire, Drew, and McGwire.
Zero pressure Michelin. So revolutionary it won't go flat, even with the puncture the size of a golf ball, letting you drive up to 50 miles at 55 miles per hour. Just what you'd expect from Michelin.
When you get heartburn, indigestion, and pain, don't get these to relieve all your symptoms. When pain this bad grabs you, don't grab these for complete or fast relief. Problems this bad need the 100% solution. Alka-Seltzer, the only one with effervescent power to speed relief and medicines for all your symptoms. Heartburn and pain are no problem with the 100% solution. Alka-Seltzer. And for your worst gas pain, try Alka-Seltzer Gas Relief Liquid Soft Gels.
Castrol Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner is uniquely formulated to instantly release brake dust and road grime, so your wheels will look new, even if your car isn't. Castrol Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner outperforms all leading wheel cleaners.
They've already invented a machine that washes dishes. It's called a woman.
FX, please, watch responsibly.
Kenny Albert, Ken Brett back in St. Louis as we head to the bottom of the 1st inning. The Cardinals have won the first 2 games of this series. Mark McGwire will bat 3rd in the bottom of the 1st. It will be Joe McGwire leading things off, the young second baseman, followed by the right fielder J.D. Drew, then McGwire. Ray Langford in the cleanup spot with 31 home runs. Ron Gant bats 5th. Fernando Tatis, the 3rd baseman, will bat 6th. Then the shortstop, Luis Ordaz. The pitcher, Manny Ibar, in the number 8 position. And then the catcher, Eli Marrero, up against 25-year-old right-hander Dustin Hermanson, who leads the Expos staff with 14 victories.
Yeah, he's been their best pitcher all season long. He's pitched more innings this year than he's ever thrown in his career, and I don't think they're going to let him go more than about 7 innings. Good hits to innings pitch ratio. He's got pretty good control. And the basic pitches, fastball, slider, and a changeup. Watch the backdoor slider to left-handed hitters. He likes to throw that pitch.
Joe McGwire, a 25-year-old rookie, leading things off. Started the year with Double-A Arkansas. Moved up to Triple-A Memphis. Picked up his first major league hit off Randy Johnson 2 weeks back. His only hit, he's 1 for 12 in the 8 games. Delino DeShields getting the day off today. Hermanson 14 and 11, 7th in the National League with an ERA of 3.05. He's won 7 of his last 9 decisions. 1-1 to McGwire. Now 1-2.
Now here's a guy that started the year in Double-A, so he has made a pretty rapid advancement. Double-A, Triple-A, the big leagues. Let me tell you, there's a big difference between Double-A pitching in the big leagues. Triple-A not quite as big a difference, but you could see why he's struggling a little bit offensively. He's got a lot to learn, but if he's got the tools, he'll be all right.
Ground ball to the shortstop, Cabrera. 1 away. Defensively for the Expos, they have committed 154 errors, most in the major leagues.
I think that goes hand in hand with having a very young team. Some guys that probably aren't ready to play in the big leagues, and they're just put in over their head. They make mistakes. But I think one thing you will always see when you put a young team on the field with a manager like Mr. Alou, they do get better over the course of the season, and they are not a bad ball club right now.
J.D. Drew homered twice last night. His second 2-home run game in 12 major league appearances. 12 games with the Cardinals. He's 11 for 28 with 5 home runs. And hits this one to deep center field. Jones on the run at the track, and it's off the wall. Jones into third, or Drew into third with a stand-up triple. His first career 3-base hit.
And Kenny, you could hear the crowd behind this young man the first time he comes up. And I'm telling you, they love this Drew kid.
We'd like to welcome those of you joining us from Fox Sports to a special edition of Baseball Saturday on FX. Kenny Albert with Ken Brett. 1 out, bottom of the first inning. Dustin Hermanson on the mound for the Expos. Mark McGwire comes to the plate for the first time today with J.D. Drew, the runner, on third. 0-1.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a pretty good rip right there. And not often you see McGwire take a vicious rip like that on the first pitch. He's a very patient hitter, likes to work the count in his favor, knows the strike zone.
He hit number 66 last night. The 0-1. Out to the screen, 0-2.
I'll tell you one thing about Hermanson. He's not wasting any time. He's going right after him. I think the way to get McGwire out, you've got to pitch him in. You've got to get ahead of him. When you get ahead, you can make him swing at some bad pitches.
Sammy Sosa 0 for 1 in Houston today. McGwire behind, no balls, 2 strikes. High and tight, 1-2.
And where is he pitching? Last 2 pitches. In, which makes the outside pitch only that much tougher to hit.
Crowd on its feet. The 1-2 from Hermanson, and he struck him out. So McGwire goes down on strikes for the 155th time this season. So both Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa 0 for 1 today.
And I tell you what, I loved the way Hermanson pitched it. Outside for the first pitch, in, and what's he get him to strike out on? He gets him to strike out on a pitch down and away. Fastball up. And there it is. Swings at a bad pitch. Why? Because you worked him in and you got ahead of him.
So with 2 away, runner on third. Here's Ray Lankford, who's driven in 105 runs this year with 31 homers. Are flash bulbs needed in the afternoon?
I don't think so. I don't think they're needed at night.
Did you notice that?
No, I did not.
On every McGwire swing, night games, at least 1,000 flash bulbs around the stadium. And probably half that number just moments ago during his first at bat in the afternoon.
Well, I know one group of people that like that. The people in the film business. Yes. They're selling a lot of film, and they're selling a lot of flash bulbs in St. Louis.
0-2 on Langford. Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Langford has tied his career high with the 31 homers. Nobody's talking about this guy.
He's having a quiet, good year. 31, 105. 100 RBIs used to be the magic mark in baseball.
And Brian Jordan's driven in 90. Number 25 has certainly taken some of the attention, most of the attention away from his 2 teammates.
I think he's stolen all the attention away.
The 2-2 from Hermanson. Bounce foul. Although McGwire has said throughout the last couple of months, look at Langford, look at Jordan. Those guys are putting up tremendous numbers.
And I think that's the kind of a guy McGwire is. But I think no matter what he says, people are letting it go in one ear, out the other, and they're talking to him. He's the only one giving press conferences after ball games, even if he goes 0 for 5.
Langford called out on strikes by the home plate umpire, Brian Gorman. So the J.D. Drew triple is wasted. No score after 1 from Bush.
Introducing the Midas battery. Now for just $49.99 with rebate. Batteries. Brand new from Midas.
Castrol's Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner is uniquely formulated to instantly release brake dust and road grime, so your wheels will look new, even if your car isn't. Castrol's Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner outperforms all leading wheel cleaners.
These are the voyages. This is the network. And this is TrekFest 98. Your chance to explore Las Vegas. Watch the original Star Trek every weeknight, digitally remastered and restored, only on the Sci-Fi Channel. See your participating retailer to enter TrekFest 98 and get your passport savings book. Vegas is calling. Live long and prosper.
Enter at any Media One office and watch the original Star Trek series on Sci-Fi Channel 44.
Make some really special deliveries and earn that extra money you need. Parents, seniors, college students, if you're looking for the ideal part-time job, join our team of proud professional drivers. Get on board with Ryder Student Transportation and receive training, competitive hourly pay, bonuses, and great benefits. At Ryder, safety is our first responsibility, always. Apply in person at Ryder Student Transportation, 900 Sack Drive in Crest Hill, and get rolling with Ryder.
FX, please, watch responsibly.
No score as we head to the second. A 91-degree day in St. Louis. For the Expos, here in the second, Derek May, Bob Henley, and Shane Andrews up against Manny Ibar. While San Francisco now leading Colorado 10-2.
They are getting hot at the right time.
May fouls it back. 0-2.
Yeah. If you had asked me a week or 10 days ago what the Giants would have to do to get to the position where they are right now, I would have said just about win every game. And they have just about done that. And they are conceivably 1 game away from being the wild card champion.
And their prize, should they win the National League wild card, the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah. Well, the Mets have had trouble with Atlanta. I think everybody's had trouble with Atlanta. I don't know if Houston would have trouble with Atlanta. Houston's got that great pitching staff, and they score a lot of runs. That could be a pretty good matchup.
May called out on strikes. Well, folks, Ken Brett standing by to answer any question you might have. Baseball or non-baseball related. But
I've got the big dictionary right here. It's very thick, folks.
He's ready to go. So email your question to us at mci@foxsports.net. That's mci@foxsports.net. Our MCI Interactive Fan email question. Bob Henley, a big night last night, 4 for 4. He drove in 3 runs, batting .310 in 40 games with the Expos.
Yeah, here's another one of those young guys that the Expos had brought up. spent 2 years, 96 and 97 at Double-A ball. Here he is in 98 in the big leagues, and he's done a good job hitting .310.
The Expos Double-A affiliate, Harrisburg, in Pennsylvania, have won their league championship 3 straight years.
Another indication of how good they are.
9 players have made their major league debuts this season with the Expos. The 0-2 from Ibar. Oh, he hit him.
And I think he got his hand up. You see he's going to first base holding that left hand. He got his hand up just in time. It looked to me like that ball was coming up and in with a little vengeance on it. But the catcher, of course, is one guy who's used to getting hit, and hopefully he will be okay.
Only the second batter Ibar has hit this year.
Now watch him get this left hand up where the ball's going. He gets it right in the shoulder. That's a good place to get hit. A lot of meat right there. That ball was going right for the old neck.
So Henley, the runner on first for Shane Andrews. Good power numbers for Andrews this year. 24 home runs, 68 runs batted in, 2 hits last night. In fact, Andrews and Vladimir Guerrero have set an Expos team record for most home runs combined by a pair of players with 62.
Well, you know you're going to get Guerrero back next year. Got the 5-year deal. That's one of the big questions, I think, always surrounding the Expos. Who can they keep? Who are they going to have to get rid of?
But Andrews and Guerrero combined still 4 short of McGwire.
Earlier in the year, correct me if I'm wrong, there were some teams that had not hit 66 home runs.
Cardinals lead the National League in homers with 218. They have not led the league at the end of the season in 54 years. 1-2 on Andrews, 1 out in the second. Well, Ken, it is 6-2 San Francisco. The scoreboard here at Busch incorrect.
I get the 6s and 9s mixed up all the time, so I apologize with you.
But the out-of-town scoreboard does show a 10-2 score. Runner going. Here's the throw from Morero, not in time. Henley is in with his 3rd stolen base of the season.
Yeah, another thing that Philippe Alou likes to do, utilize his players. One thing that Philippe is very good at, getting the most out of his players. And here's a catcher stealing second base. Big leg kick there by the pitcher. Even though a catcher gets a good pitch to throw on, throws it in the dirt. A good throw would have gotten.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Shane Andrews. The pitch from Ibar strikes him out. Strikeout number 2 for Manny Ibar.
Ibar trying to get some attention here, trying to prove that he can pitch at this level. He struck out 2 this inning. He gave up a 1-out single in the first inning to Terry Jones. Breaking ball down and away 9 times out of 10. That is a good strikeout pitch.
So with 2 outs, here's Orlando Cabrera, the Expos shortstop. 0 for 6 in the series so far. Brian Gorman, the home plate umpire today. Rich Reeker down at first base. Joe West, the second base umpire. And Kerwin Danley working third base. Second to last day of the regular season. The playoffs get underway on Tuesday. 0-2.
Remember what we talked about earlier in the ball game. Dave Duncan says Ibar does not change speeds a whole lot during his delivery. And one time around the lineup, that's not going to hurt you too bad. But once the pitchers get the word to the hitters that they're not going to change speed so much, the hitters, I think, a little more relaxed. And I think the second and third times around, this is the kind of pitcher that can get himself into trouble because he doesn't change speeds.
And Ibar strikes out the side. An inning and a half complete in St. Louis. No score. McGwire 0 for 1.
When you get heartburn, indigestion, and pain, don't get these to relieve all your symptoms. When pain this bad grabs you, don't grab these for complete or fast relief. Problems this bad need the 100% solution. Alka-Seltzer, the only one with effervescent power to speed relief and medicines for all your symptoms. Heartburn and pain are no problem with the 100% solution, Alka-Seltzer. And try the best tasting Alka-Seltzers ever, cherry and lemon lime.
Looks like Taz just got his AT&T phone bill. Taz, don't you make a lot of calls on Sunday?
Yeah, Taz call.
Then use MCI 5-cent Sundays. It's just 5 cents a minute every Sunday. AT&T charges 3 times as much. Taz, let's call 1-800-SUNDAY. Become an MCI customer.
I think the most important feeding is the one that you start in the fall, so your lawn starts to look healthier in the spring, and consequently, you need Scott's Winterizer. When I put down Winterizer in the fall, it allows us to develop a good, strong root base, and it allows the lawn to endure the winter weather, and you get a real early greening. This grass is beautiful, thick, deep green. People will stop by and say, "How'd you do that?" Scott's Winterizer gives the grass a kickstart in the fall and makes it really look great in the spring.
Welcome back to Busch Stadium in St. Louis, a special edition of FX Baseball Saturday as the country watches Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa over these final 2 days. They both homered last night. They've homered in the same day 21 times this season.
Boy, what a horse race this has been. Even Sosa said about a week ago, it's over, the other guy's going to win, and then he goes and hits 2 in Houston and actually brings us back into the reality that this thing could go down to perhaps the last day. And if we even want to talk about it, we could talk potential playoff.
And not only are we keeping an eye on the home run race, but the National League wild card race as well. Coming into play today, Cubs, Giants, and Mets tied 88-72. Mets flanked by the Braves. 4-0. Mets' 4th consecutive loss. Giants lead the Rockies 6-2 in the 5th. And the Cubs have fallen behind 1-0 at the Astrodome in Houston.
And who would you rather not play to finish out the season for a wild card? Atlanta and Houston, the 2 best teams in the league. If you wanted to throw in San Francisco, make it to 3.
Gant, Tatis, and Ordaz for the Cardinals. Here in the 2nd against Hermanson. You saw the numbers on Gant. 1 of 3 lifetime against Hermanson. And the 1 hit was a home run. He's hit 3 against the Expos this year. And Gant pops it up. Catcher Henley throws the mask away and then has to make an acrobatic catch to retire Gant.
I always thought that the toughest balls to catch for a catcher are the ones pretty much right over his head. When they have to run after it, they make it look easy. He struggles a little bit here because he only has to go about steps. Let me tell you, this is about a 3-story pop-up. It's a lot easier, I think, for the third baseman to come in and catch that ball, but that's the pitcher's job. The pitcher's got to call the catcher off. Even if the catcher calls it and the third baseman's there, the pitcher can call him off because he thinks the third baseman has a better shot at it.
Here's the Cardinals' third baseman, Fernando Tatis, acquired at the trade deadline from the Texas Rangers. Tatis with a hit in 14 of his last 16 games.
Of course, the Cardinals traded the whole left side of their infield, got rid of Gaetti, got rid of Royce Clayton, got a new left side. Tatis pretty much the everyday third baseman. I know one thing, the Texas Rangers like this young man, but I think they wanted to win more this year, and they got the veteran to take his spot.
You mentioned Gaetti. He's been a teammate of both McGwire and Sosa this season. Gary Gaetti has been on hand for 64 home runs, 45 by McGwire before he was released by the Cardinals, 19 by Sosa since Gaetti signed with the Cubs on August 19th.
He's been around it all year long. And he's not having a bad year with the Cubs either. One
2 on Tatis. As Hermanson delivers. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hermanson is not one of the 61 pitchers who has allowed a Mark McGwire home run this season. He's hit 2 against the Expos. Trey Moore back in April, and Shane Bennett last night. And the count is now full with 1 out in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Now notice the last 2 pitches that Hermanson threw. The slider down and away. The next pitch, the fastball down and in. And that was the pitch you wanted to get him out on. You got to use both sides of the plate. And if you're going to miss off the plate inside.
And the curveballs are called. Strike 3. 3rd strikeout for Dustin Hermanson. Well, Ken, college football on FX is coming at you again October 10th. First, Arkansas takes on Memphis at 3:30. That's Eastern, and then it will be Kansas State and Colorado going head-to-head at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. It's all on FX Saturday, October 10th. A college football doubleheader. 2 outs in the Cardinals' 3rd. Here's Luis Ordaz, who's had the hot bat as of late with a hit in 11 of his last 12 games.
Now here's a guy earlier in the season when he was pretty much not, well, I can't say he was given the job as a shortstop because Placidio Polanco is also battling for that spot. He was not hitting a lick, and now all of a sudden he's swinging the bat a little better. And as you said, 405 over his last 12 ball games. He's starting to feel a little more comfortable. There's Dave Parker, pretty good player, now the hitting coach for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Ground ball backhanded by the second baseman Wilton Guerrero. A 1-2-3 inning for Dustin Hermanson. Will return to St. Louis in a moment.
They've already invented a machine that washes dishes. It's called a woman.
FX, please, watch responsibly.
This week on Penn & Teller's Sand City Spectacular, we assault your senses with the softer side of Jerry Springer and swing with Big Bad Voodoo Daddy.
Penn & Teller's Sin City Spectacular, Monday at 9, only on FX.
At Auto Empire, we have big car lots with smaller buildings. We have lower overhead, and we can afford to sell our cars for thousands less than the competition.
The owner of this Blazer saved over $3,000 at Auto Empire and also received a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty, lifetime oil changes, 24-hour roadside assistance, and a money-back guarantee.
Our low overhead means more money in your pocket.
Auto Empire is located in Lockport on 159th and in Posen at 147th and Western Avenue, just off I-57.
Imagine if your home were transformed into a haunted house. Would you be freaked? Find out by entering the AMC Monster Fest House of Horror Sweepstakes. Win and see your home transmogrified into a haunted house. Get your family monster makeovers along with other spine-tingling prizes. To enter, send your name, age, address, and phone number to AMC House of Horrors, P.O. Box 7654, Melville, New York 11775, or enter online at amctv.com.
FX, please, watch responsibly.
No score as we head to the 3rd in St. Louis. Kenny Albert with Ken Brett as the regular season comes to an end tomorrow. I wonder if they can see the game from the top of the Gateway Arch.
I think with the right set of binoculars, absolutely. They're probably selling tickets for up there.
Is that the equivalent of the rooftops outside Wrigley?
That's a standing room only seat.
Our league leaders brought to you by Alka-Seltzer. Larry Walker, who we mentioned earlier, the former Expo, looks to have things wrapped up in the National League, and Bernie Williams and Mo Vaughn separated by 1 percentage point in the American.
You know, winning the batting title is one thing, but when you talk about Bernie Williams and Mo Vaughn, I think they have bigger sights in hand.
John Olerud, in fact, won the batting title with the Blue Jays and would have become only the 2nd player this century to win a batting title in both leagues.
And I remember watching him play that year, and I don't recall ever seeing anybody hit a ball so consistently hard all the time.
Overwood earlier this week reached base 15 consecutive plate appearances. Dustin Hermanson, the pitcher, leading things off in the top of the 3rd inning. Hermanson with 2 career home runs, 8 off your pace.
Well, at least he knows how to swing the bat a little bit. Batting average only 118 and only 2 RBIs. I'm a little suspect about those 2 RBIs for a guy who's been their best starting pitcher.
Well, he homered last year off Shane Reynolds in his first major league plate appearance. Called strike, 2-2. Ibar struck out the side in the 2nd for Tony La Russa. In the air to right, Drew took a step in, now shuffling back. 1 away.
J.D. Drew, of course, he's a kid that had a chance to sign with Philadelphia, wanted too much money. St. Louis having a great year, signs him, gives him a ton of money. Takes a step in, backs up, makes it look easy. He has had a fine year here with the St. Louis Cardinals, and you look at his numbers this year. And coming into the ball game, Drew, 5 home runs, 12 RBIs, and batting average of .393.
Well hit right center. Drew on the run. This will roll to the wall. Extra bases for Wilton Guerrero as he heads into 3rd. A stand-up triple, but the throw gets away. But Guerrero retreats. His 9th triple of the season, 3rd among National Leaguers.
You know, Guerrero has always been the kind of a player who has had outstanding speed. There's been a big question mark, however, surrounding whether he's a good base runner or not. Ball, bell tie in on the gap, and he hits it right into the gap in right center field. Once that ball gets to the wall, he is thinking nothing but triple. But Kenny, to close the book out on a J.D. Drew, Tony La Russa was talking about him before the ball game today and basically said the kid's got all the tools, but he has to come to spring training next year and win a job. There will be no job given to the young man.
Remember, he played in the Independent Northern League last season during the contract negotiations between his agent Scott Boras and the Philadelphia Phillies. Re-entered the draft after a year. Drew tripled his first at bat. Now Wilton Guerrero, the runner on 3rd following a 3-base hit, 1 out. Terry Jones, who singled his first time up, and the count 1 ball, 1 strike.
Now here's an opportunity, Kenny, for a hitter to do something very little but very basic and get himself an RBI, get his team a run. Hit the ground ball to short or second on the ground. It's like playing pepper. Hit the ball on the ground somewhere. Don't try to do too much here.
1-2 on Jones. Corner infielders on the edge of the grass.
Infielders in on the corners, back at second and short, shallow in center field. The key out right here for somebody who does not have a whole lot of power, do the right thing and try to do it with the first swing.
Jones held up. 2-2. Sammy Sosa on deck in Houston. So in just a moment, we will take you to the Astrodome for Sosa's 2nd at bat of the day. He fouled out his first time up here in St. Louis. Mark McGwire struck out. Jones strikes out. Guerrero fires down to 3rd. Guerrero slides back in.
That is 4 strikeouts in the ball game for Manny Ibar. Not really a good at bat for Terry Jones. He swings at a bad pitch here. Good breaking ball, good location, down and in.
Two outs. Here's Fernando Seganol. Seganol flies to center in the 1st inning. In the dirt Nice block by Marrero.
Of course, a ball getting by the catcher there is the same thing as a ground ball by Jones, but nice block. Keep the ball in front of you as a catcher. Throw your body in front of the ball and just let it hit you if you have to.
No score, top of the third inning. Segedal fouls it back. Off the screen, 1-1. And now we take it to Houston. Sammy Sosa coming to the plate. Let's join Fox Sports broadcasters Tom Brenneman and Bob Brenly.
We welcome those of you watching Mark McGwire and the Cardinals take on Montreal. McGwire 0 for 1, Sosa 0 for 1, and now Sammy bats for the second time in the ball game. 66 home runs. Sosa has hit 57 of those home runs in his last 107 games. Prior to May the 25th, Sosa had 9 home runs on the year, while Mark McGwire had 24. Sosa caught him, passed him, and then McGwire tied him last night. Big cut foul back out of play, and all the flash balls sprinkled all over the Astrodome with every Sosa cut.
You mentioned Reynolds seems to have it going today, able to spot his fastball on both sides of the plate. Reynolds talks about working up and down as well, rather than just in and out, up and down. He's able to do that to Sosa. He may see another strikeout here. Sosa with 168 punch-outs on the season.
Houston, a 1-0 lead. Sosa has said from the get-go, and he made it very clear last night. He is not thinking anymore at all about the home runs or whatever Mark McGwire is doing. He said, I got to get my team to the postseason. And the 0-1. Fastball missed, blown away. And of course, Sammy also very much on his mind what has taken place because of Hurricane George in his native homeland of the Dominican Republic, where 300 lives have been lost. One pitch. Blistered into center field, a base hit. So Sosa with a single. Johnson advances on to second. And Grace is coming up.
So Sammy Sosa 1 for 2 this afternoon. Mark McGwire made a diving stop at first base to rob Segedal of an RBI single that ended the top of the third inning. Guerrero stranded on third following his triple.
This ball is well hit by Segedal. The only chance McGwire has to catch it, go down on one knee, make a little dive. There he goes. Once he gets up, flips the ball to the pitcher cover, and that's an easy 3-1 putout.
And a nice hand for McGwire as he returned to the Cardinals dugout. Well, the Major League playoffs head to Fox Tuesday night at 8 Eastern Time. The New York Yankees will host either the Texas Rangers or the Cleveland Indians on Fox, the exclusive home of the 1998 World Series.
And of course, the question is, who's going to have more wins at the end of the season, Texas or Cleveland? And right now, what's the difference there, Ken?
Cleveland 88, Texas 87. As we take a look, the Boston Red Sox, the wild card club.
Boston having a better year than anybody else in baseball outside those mighty New York Yankees.
Manny Ibar will lead off the bottom of the third for the Cardinals, and he takes ball one. Ibar, Marrero, and McGwire. pitcher, of course, batting in the number 8 spot. Tony La Russa experimenting. And he has stuck with the experiment over the last 2 months.
Well, we know one thing. Ibar is a free swinger. He goes after the gas-eye fastball right there. Kenny, I think if you know anything about baseball and you know anything about the Latin players, they love to swing the bat. They are all swingers. And I think if you know that as a pitcher, you kind of know how to pitch to them. Not a whole lot of strikes.
Two from Hermanson. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes on Ibar. Strikeout number 4 for Hermanson. Well, Ken, tonight after baseball on the East, MASH is next, followed by the Believers at 8 Eastern. And on the West, MASH will follow baseball, and then Man Trouble at 5 and the Believers at 8 Pacific. Don't miss out. It's only on FX. 1 out in the Cardinals' 3rd. Eli Marrero batting for the first time, and what a season it's been for Marrero coming back. He had a cancerous thyroid gland removed during spring training in March.
Yeah, and just to come back from something as serious as that, you know, anything with the word cancer involved, you know, don't think outside of baseball it doesn't happen to these guys as well. Guys get sick all the time, and here's a guy that had it. And I think if you look at the Montreal Expos lineup, a thoracic nerve problem suffered by the 3rd baseman Shane Andrews cost him virtually all of last year. These guys have problems physically just like the rest of us.
And you think back to the Eric Davis situation
Sure.
in Baltimore last year.
But I think when you're an athlete and you have that finely tuned body, you have a tendency to recover pretty quickly through hard work.
1-2 on Marrero. 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd inning. He fouls it back, so the count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. The Rockies chipping away. They now trail the Giants 7-4 in the 6th inning. San Francisco looking to pull in front. Mets have lost. Cubs trailing the Astros 1-0.
And I think anytime you play in Colorado, don't give anything up for granted. Get as many runs as you can, because the Rockies, even though they're not having a very good year, the Rockies can still score a lot of runs, and they can score in a hurry.
Orel Hershiser on the mound for the Giants. He's been known to win a couple of big games in his career.
I think even though Orel is up there in years, he still knows how to pitch. He's not a bad guy to have on the mound this time of year.
Ground ball to the shortstop, Cabrera. 2 out. So Hermanson has gone through the Cardinals lineup once, allowing only 1 base hit, the triple off the bat of J.D. Drew. He's retired the other 8, including a strikeout of Mark McGwire in the 1st inning.
You know, both pitchers have pitched well the first time through the lineup. The only problem that each pitcher has had is they both gave up a 1-out triple, but then they pitched out of it. Still no score.
Here's Joe McGwire batting for the 2nd time, grounded to short, leading off the 1st. McGwire now 1 for 13 in his major league career. This is 9th game. Getting a start at 2nd base in place of Delino DeShields. Hard hit to the shortstop, Cabrera. A 1-2-3 third for Dustin Hermanson. 3 innings in the books. No score from St. Louis on FX Baseball Saturday.
So what are we going to do today, Matt?
Shave it off, all of it. Just
Okay.
Oh, it's just this dandruff. It goes away, comes back, goes away, comes back.
Well, we can take care of that.
Head and Shoulders?
With regular shampoo, flakes can keep coming back. But Head and Shoulders helps prevent flakes before they start. You may never see flakes again.
And your hair looks great.
Glad I didn't do something stupid like shave my head.
Head and Shoulders changes dandruff problems into beautiful hair.
There's still something about Mary.
I love Ruben!
It's a drama.
It was touching.
Surprise! It's a love story.
Really, that gets you inside.
There's something about Mary. Rated R. Now play.
It was the merger of America's two largest railroads. When the last spike was driven, America was officially open for business. Now, it's happening again. Two of the largest networks on Earth have become one. A single network that can handle all the data traffic of all the other carriers combined. Introducing MCI WorldCom. Now the world is officially open for business.
Tonight, the Groundlings welcome the outrageous Sandra Bernhard.
I've had a lot of rock and roll.
Instant comedy with the Groundlings, tonight at 10 on FX.
Castrol Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner is uniquely formulated to instantly release brake dust and road grime, so your wheels will look new, even if your car isn't. Castrol Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner outperforms all leading wheel cleaners.
Back in St. Louis from Busch Stadium. Kenny Albert, Ken Brett, no score. 3 innings complete. Vladimir Guerrero, Derek May, Bob Henley for the Expos here in the 4th.
How come it's not Ken Albert and Kenny Brett?
That's an excellent question.
Now, have you always been known as Kenny?
I have.
And I've always been known as Ken. That's how we tell ourselves.
Tried Ken a couple of years ago. Didn't sound right. I'll leave it to you. It is Kenneth, right?
Well, my name is Kenneth, as is
Kenneth,
yours.
Yes. Your middle name?
Alvin, after the Chipmunks.
Kenneth Alvin Brett.
And yours?
Gary.
It's right where
Scintillating television. Vladimir Guerrero leading it off for the Expos. Foul ball coming our way as Kenneth Alvin Brett reaches out.
Would have been my first souvenir this year.
How much would that ball have been worth?
I would have told my son it was a home run ball from the big fella.
Right. Vladimir Guerrero 0 for 7 in the series. But look at what he has done since the All-Star break.
342. Here's a young man that got that 5-year contract, not because they liked him as a person. He is a good person. Don't make any mistake about that. This guy can flat out play.
The Expos building the team around Vladimir Guerrero. He grounded to short his first time up. Behind right here, 1 and 2. Fouled back behind first base. Guerrero 1 hit shy of 200. The team record is 202, held by Al Oliver back in 1982. Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, you talked about the Expos building their team around Guerrero. I think the other thing they're trying to build their team around, the new ballpark in Montreal. I was always under the impression that decision was supposed to be made by about June the 30th based on seat licenses sold. They had put it off because at that time they did not have enough seats sold.
And there is hit number 200 on the season for Guerrero. A leadoff single in the top of the 4th. Well, Ken, Monday it's instant comedy with the Groundlings and guest star Kathy Griffin from Suddenly Susan. No scripts, no rehearsals, no problem, with new episodes every weeknight at 10, only on FX.
And Kenny, they just took that ball out of play, hit number 200 for Vladimir. He'll get that for the old trophy case.
Just 2 shy of the club record, but he'll only have 5, perhaps 6, perhaps 7 more at bats.
He wants extra innings now.
Here's Derek May, who struck out looking, leading off the 2nd. stolen 11 bases this year. He's also been caught 8 times. In the air to center. Langford on the run. Makes the catch on the warning track.
Make no mistake, Langford playing a shallow center field. I mean, he had to get on his horse right there to run that one down. He was about 1 step short of having that ball go right over his head. Now look at him go right there. I mean, he's going pretty hard. Got it in his sights right now. Has to reach up to one-handed. And who was the guy that played the shallow center field for Baltimore that was so good? Paul Blair. Boy, he could play shallow. Take a lot of base hits away from him. And very seldom would you get one over his head. That's how good a jump he got on the ball.
Bob Henley hit by a pitch his first time up, and then he stole second. Henley, a 26th round draft pick back in 1991. Strike called, 0-2. You mentioned the ballpark situation in Montreal. Rumors about a possible move.
Of course, they've been talking about a move there for several years until they got the talk started about this ballpark. I would like to see them get it personally, but I have a big question mark around whether they're going to get that done.
And there have been reports that Felipe Alou, should the Expos move, could possibly be headed out to Los Angeles. Kevin Malone, hired as the new general manager by the Dodgers, worked with Felipe in Montreal, and Felipe says he does have an allegiance to the city of Montreal, but if the team moved, that allegiance would no longer exist with the franchise in another city.
How about the fact that as a manager, as good a manager as he has been, and for what he gets out of his ball players, every year they seem to rob him blind. Thank God they have a good scouting and minor league department where he's always got some players who have some talent, but they are always young players. They get better, but the bottom line is they're always a struggling ball club.
They had the best record in baseball when the strike hit back in '94, and it's been downhill ever since. The 0-2 to Henley. Now 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's funny, I was in LA before I flew out to do this game on Friday. Front page story in the LA Times saying this is the guy that's going to get the job. They all but said this is the guy they're going after. And I think they've already asked permission to talk to him. The question is, have they been given permission yet? I don't know.
Guerrero, the runner on first. The 1-2, Guerrero goes, and Henley fouls it off.
You know, you talk about tampering, you know, and we're not talking tampering here. We're talking the Dodgers would like to get this guy. There's an association between Malone and him. How about Mr. Alou's son in Houston, who can demand a trade at the end of the season? And he basically said the same thing. I'm not talking about that right now. You know, I'd like to play for my father again, but, you know, that's something that I'm not worried about. I'm more concerned right now with the playoffs. So lots of things happening in baseball.
Moises looking to win his 2nd consecutive World Series title. The 1-2 from Ibar. 0 away, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Of the 4th. Guerrero goes, pitch out, the throw from Marrero, and they got him.
Well, he picked a good time to run 2-2, but I think the Cardinals thinking they might be going and do the old pitch out. No contest right here, folks. So the count now 3-2 to Bob Henley. Look at the catcher. Look at the pitch out. That's exactly where you want. You want the ball right about belt high, easy, and they nail him.
It worked to perfection. And then Ibar in the next pitch strikes out Henley. 5th strikeout for Manny Ibar. Mark McGwire will bat 2nd for the Cardinals in a moment.
Introducing the Midas battery. Now for just $49.99 with rebate. Batteries, brand new from Midas.
When I put down Scott's winterizer in the fall, it allows us to develop a good, strong root base. You get a real early greening. People will stop by and say, how'd you do that? Scott's winterizer gives the grass a kickstart in the fall and makes it really look great.
Come on, you can count on us. Come on.
Come on to Joliet Dodge. We're Will County's largest Dodge dealer. We're just 1 mile west of Larkin on Jefferson Street in Joliet.
Can we deliver? Count on it.
Oh, yeah.
Count on a better selection, better service, and we guarantee a better deal. Come see us. Remember, our job is your complete satisfaction.
You can count on us.
At Joliet Dodge.
The action's out of control on Media One pay-per-view. Caution, restraint. You won't find it here. Pain, punishment, abuse, just their typical day at work. For these are men who conquer fear. Athletes who defy gravity as well as convention. Call it attitude. WWF Breakdown in your house live Sunday, September 27th, only on Media One pay-per-view. Instant comedy with the Groundlings, tonight at 10 on FX.
Baseball Saturday on FX is brought to you by Alka-Seltzer, the 100% solution for heartburn, indigestion, and pain. We saw the Trans World Dome in the foreground, the home of the St. Louis Rams. J.D. Drew gets set to lead off the Cardinals' fourth. What a weekend it has been. 2 home runs last night against the Expos.
First home run, dead center field. Second home run, this one's to right field. This kid's got all the tools. You talk about a guy that's got all the tools. He can do 5 things. Here's a triple, opposite field, left center field. You got speed on top of that. I think this guy's going to make this club next year unless he falls apart in spring training. That's how good he is. And I wonder if the Phillies are watching all of this.
I would think they're keeping track. J.D. now 12 for 29. This is his 13th game in the majors, leading off the 4th against Dustin Hermanson. And he punts it right back to Hermanson. 1 away. To welcome those viewers watching us on Fox Sports to a special edition of FX Baseball Saturday. I'm Kenny Albert with Ken Brett. Top of the 4th inning from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. No score. Dustin Hermanson on the mound for the Expos against Mark McGwire, who hits this one to deep left field. And this is number 67. At 4:13 p.m., Mark McGwire has regained the home run lead over Sammy Sosa.
And Sammy, of course, playing catch-up once again for the 2nd time in this ball game. What has he done? Swung at the first pitch. This one catches too much of the plate. He gets it up and in. Vicious line drive into the gap there in left field.
McGwire's 2nd home run in 2 days, his 3rd against Expos pitching this season. Number 67, his 32nd solo homer. his 13th fourth-inning home run, more than any other inning. Two on Langford. Well, it traveled 403 feet.
In a hurry. Wasn't one of those fly ball home runs we're so used to seeing. This was a little lenient. Straight to left. No doubt about it.
Full count on Ray Langford. Home run number 67 for Mark McGwire. He pulls one ahead of slamming Sammy Sosa. And then Hermanson walks the next batter, Ray Langford.
First walk given up in the ball game by Hermanson. Take a look at the side swing here. He gets such great extension, keeps his hands together over his front foot. By the time he releases his top hand on the bat, the ball is gone. But he's got such a quick swing, a short swing and a quick swing. And Kenny, I wonder if tomorrow afternoon at this time, when the season's about over for the big fella, if he can take a deep sigh of relief and say, I'm going home, I'm just going to relax for a while and try to catch my breath. It's been a big year and a tough year for this right-hander.
Ron Gant into the gap in left center. It rolls to the wall. Here comes Langford. And the Cardinals lead is now 2-0. RBI number 67 for Gant. And you wonder if Hermanson's mind is still on McGwire.
Well, he's been the best pitcher they've had this year. You would think that he's been in situations before where he's given up a big hit in front of a big crowd and been able to come right back and get his concentration back. But the first walk he gives up is to Langford, and early in the count here hangs a breaking ball. And that's an easy double in the gap in left center. Another RBI for Gant, 67 on the season.
Gee, that number's coming up quite often.
67.
Still one out. Gant, the runner on second. Cardinals leading it 2-0. Tatis struck out his first time up. Home run number 454 of Mark McGwire's career. He pulled ahead of Carl Yastrzemski last night. 20th place all time. How many of those did you allow?
To Yastrzemski? I don't think he ever got one off. I'm not saying there aren't a few guys that did hit a few. I don't think he has ever got one. I should keep a list of all the guys. Yeah, look it up. Oh yeah, he got me once in June of '76. 2 guys on it. I should keep a list like that. It would be too hard to get.
Hermanson steps off. So Hermanson becomes the 62nd different pitcher to allow a McGwire home run this year. He's homered off 5 different pitchers twice. Sosa 1 for 2 today.
And Houston, tough ballpark to go deep in. And a better pitching staff, I think, than you were going to find here in Montreal.
Mike Thurman goes to the Expos tomorrow. That was the 21st home run allowed by Hermanson in his 30 starts. McGwire was originally drafted by Montreal back in 1981. Attended USC, and the Oakland A's selected him in the first round 3 years later.
And it's interesting, when he was offered not a contract, but a scholarship to go to USC, the man who managed the club was the great Tiger, Rod Dedeaux. He originally was asked to go there as a pitcher. As a pitcher. That's how good a pitcher he was. Of course, they saw the errors in their decision, made him a hitter, and of course, the rest is history.
And of course, Randy Johnson, a teammate of Mark's with the Trojans.
I think he went as a pitcher. But he also had a basketball scholarship because he's 6'10", 6'11". And it's interesting, I recall very vividly watching McGwire hit a 62nd home run. Who was right behind home plate sitting but Rod Dayton? Rod came to watch him.
Two and two on Fernando Tatis. And he fouls it back over the screen. Ron Gant, the runner on second. He doubled in a run. J.D. Drew bounced back to the pitcher Hermanson to start the inning. Then McGwire hit number 67. Langford walked. Gant doubled.
There's one other person in Major League Baseball right now who was involved with the USC college program back then. It was Marcel Latchman, who was the pitching coach of the Angels, and he was involved in helping McGwire get there. It's a small world in baseball.
And it extends to some of the other sports. The great Anthony Munoz played football at USC a couple of years before McGwire was there. Anthony was a relief pitcher for one season.
I did not know that. I wouldn't want to get mad at him.
No. Count now full on Tatis. Imagine stepping into the box and looking out at the mound and seeing a fellow the size of Anthony Munoz.
What is he, about 6'4", 2-something, high 2-something?
And then Randy Johnson at 6'10", joining USC a couple of years later. Hermanson again steps off, looks Gant back to second. So Dustin Hermanson now in the record books. Shane Bennett last night. Dennis Reyes, of course, allowing number 60. Mike Morgan, number 61. Steve Traxel, number 62. You know who allowed McGwire's first home run of the season, the grand slam? Gant heading down to third. It's ball 4. Second walk issued by Hermanson, and the Cardinals with runners on the corners.
I don't believe it was that right-hander for the Dodgers, Martinez.
Yes, that was back on March 31st.
And he is out for the year and probably for a great deal of time next year due to his shoulder operation. So Hermanson's struggling on the mound right now. Retires 10 of the first 11, 2 walks, a home run, and a double here after getting the leadoff hitter out. And no throw. That's how good a jump he got. We had talked about Hermanson before the ball game. This is the most innings he has ever pitched in the major leagues. They said he was going to go about 7 innings perhaps, unless he got a little tired before that. Temperature game time today about 91 degrees. And he might be just a little tired right now. Rick DeHart, left-hander, in that Expo bullpen right now.
1 out, runners on first and third. Gant, the runner on third. Tatis down at first. Luis Ordaz grounded to second to end the second inning. The big story here in the fourth, Mark McGwire, home run number 67. On the first pitch from Hermanson. And McGwire 1 for 2 today, as is Sammy Sosa. McGwire struck out in the first, homered here in the fourth. Sosa fouled out his first time up and then singled to center. Cubs trailing the Astros 1-0.
In the San Francisco ball game now, they are played 7 innings. The Giants up 7-4. Giants could could be looking down in about an hour or two. Down from first place.
Mounted is short. The run is in. Cabrera, 2 outs, but Gant scores on the infield ground out. 3-0 Cardinals. Well, the sign makers getting their money's worth. The half, of course, referring to last Sunday in Milwaukee when McGwire hit what everybody thought was number 66, but umpire Bob Davidson ruled fan interference. Ground rule double. He hit number 66 last night, number 67 about 12 minutes ago.
Well, Sammy's been looking up most of the time anyway.
As you mentioned in the open, he trailed 24-9 on May the 24th. Ibar pops it up. No room for the catcher, Henley. One and two on Ibar.
And as we talk about the Sosa and McGwire foot race here, Sammy has not gone to bed once this year in the lead. Has had the lead twice, has not woken up with the lead.
The first time for 58 minutes last night for 45. He's tied McGwire at 63, 65. And of course they were tied at 66 following play last night. And we are told Sammy Sosa is on deck in Houston with 2 outs. And the inning has just come to an end. So Sosa will lead off the Cubs' 5th. As Ibar strikes out, 5th strikeout for Hermanson, but the Cardinals take a 3-0 lead. The first run coming on number 67.
If you had $40,000, would you pay off your bills, make home improvements, or keep some for emergencies? Well, at First Plus, you can get up to $40,000 or more with no equity required. And you can get pre-qualified right now. Here's how.
Do you own your home? Do you have good credit? Do you want to pay off your bills and lower your monthly payments?
If you said yes to all 4 questions, call First Plus now. Tell them you're pre-qualified to apply for the money you need. Call First Plus at 1-800-510-PLUS.
Pain keeping you awake? Now the effervescent power of new Alka-Seltzer PM gives you complete relief. Alka-Seltzer Speed plus a gentle sleep aid. The 100% solution to nighttime pain. New Alka-Seltzer PM. Sleep well.
There's still something about Mary.
I love Ruben!
It's a drama.
It was touching.
Surprise! It's a love story.
Really, that gets you inside.
There's something about Mary. Rated R. Now play.
Here in St. Louis as Mark McGwire, with just 1 game remaining in the 1998 regular season tomorrow afternoon, has taken a 1-homer edge on Sammy Sosa. McGwire going deep, bottom of the 4th inning, his 67th home run of the season.
Now, one of the things we had talked about before the ballgame is, the Cubs could conceivably see themselves in a playoff game. Those at-bats will count. But one thing you had told me, which I was not aware of before the ball game, The Cardinals played a game this year that went in the books as a tie, and they really did get a couple of extra at-bats from McGwire, didn't they?
Yes. St. Andrews to deep left field, and this one is gone. So Andrews hits his 25th, cutting the Cardinals' lead to 3-1. Not quite the hoopla as the other homer that was hit in today's game.
But you know what? Coming off a thoracic nerve problem, when you miss all of last year, and to come back and have the kind of year Andrews has had, I think is a pretty good tribute to the kind of player he is. Here's a look at the home run. Number 25, RBI number 69. Boy, that's a pitch you got to hit hard right there.
Now Orlando Cabrera, fly ball center field. Langford makes the catch. One away in the Expos' 5th. We heard rumors up here in the press box, Ken, earlier that tomorrow's game would be switched to a 4 o'clock start. But for those of you watching who may have tickets for tomorrow's game, it will remain a 1:10 St. Louis time first pitch.
Tony La Russa before the ball game found out about that, and he was going ballistic because he said 14 of his players had flights to go home tomorrow, and they were probably close to 4 o'clock. You're 4 to 6, 4 to 7. If you play a 4 o'clock game, he'd have a lot of upset players on his hand right now.
Cardinals have clinched a winning record. They finished 16 games under 500 last year. And they were as many as 9 games below 500 on 2 occasions this season. But as a result of their terrific play down the stretch, they've won 10 of their last 12. Right now 82 and 78. The Expos' goal heading into the last week and a half was to avoid 100 losses, and they swept 2 from the Mets Tuesday and Wednesday night. Montreal now 64 up, 96 down. 2-2. The pinch hitter Jose Vidro. Full count with 1 out in the 5th. Vidro pinch hitting for the pitcher, Dustin Hermanson. Ground ball to the right side. McGwire with the toss to Ibar. 2 away. Well, the New York Mets losing their 4th in a row. Fall a half game back, and should the Giants hold on, they would momentarily pull a half game ahead of the Cubs, 1 full game in front of the Mets.
And this one's going to go down to tomorrow. Make no mistake about that. The only question is, are we going to see a playoff, or are we going to see an outright win?
Wilton Guerrero tripled back in the 3rd inning. McGwire, but it's a foul ball. Just foul. So the count now 1 ball, 2 strikes on Wilton Guerrero with 2 outs in the top of the 5th inning. So Dustin Hermanson's day is done. His season is complete. In his final inning of work, he allows McGwire 67th.
And he was going very strong until his last inning, and we talked about that perhaps earlier in the ballgame. Hot day, tired pitcher. Might have just been on E when he took the mound.
91 degrees at game time. Right back to the box. Ibar to McGwire. And that will do it for the Expos in the 5th. A leadoff homer by Andrews. It is now 3-1 St. Louis.
So they are at a hot dog stand in Quebec.
He does not like that you speak English.
This is some second-rate, sad, broken down, phony French moment.
I feel shamed and full of dirt.
FX, please, watch responsibly.
At least now you can relate to the Parisians.
At America's top university, the most brilliant mind belongs to the guy who cleans the floors.
This boy's genius is unparalleled.
Now,
Playtime's over, all right, Chief?
he's met the one man
Let's let the healing begin.
who can change his life forever. Robin Williams, Matt Damon, in the film critics say makes movie magic. It's hands down the best film of the year. Good Will Hunting.
Available at a JC Flicks near you.
You will feel like a member of the family when you come to Mike's Furniture in Joliet. That is because Mike's Furniture is family-owned and operated. Browse through Mike's many galleries featuring Action Lane, House of Ashley, and Englander bedding. In Mike's Row Gallery, you custom design your next sofa because you can choose from over 600 fabrics. Whether you need one item or a house full, at Mike's you'll be able to fit your lifestyle and your budget. Mike's Furniture, 830 East Cass Street, Joliet.
FX, please, watch responsibly.
Back in St. Louis with the Cardinals leading it 3-1. Time now for our Michelin trivia question. And we will have that question for you in just a moment. The trivia question is, what will the trivia question be?
I will make one up. But in the meantime, we have a new pitcher for the Montreal Expos on the mound, the right-hander Anthony Telford. Last year with this club, with Montreal 65 ball games, that was the high out of the bullpen. Used primarily as a setup guy. As he enters the ball game here this afternoon, game number 76. So he's pitched more this year than last year. Fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. All 4 basic pitches.
His 75 appearances, 5th most in the National League. 32-year-old right-hander. And he will face Marrero, McGwire, and Drew. And should somebody reach base, McGwire. Eli Marrero bounced out to the shortstop. His first time up. 3-1 Cardinals. All 3 runs coming in the 4th. Into left center, Jones coming on, and he makes the catch, crossing in front of Derek May. So Marrero now 0 for 2. And now Joe McGwire steps to the plate for the Cardinals. Well, last night, Ken, as you know, Sammy Sosa hit number 66 in Houston off Jose Lima. And then 45 minutes later, Mark McGwire did the same against the Expos' Shane Bennett. Earlier today in the 4th, number 67 off the bat of Big Mac. Two outs. Here in the 5th. As Marrero flied to center, and then McGwire grounded to short for the 3rd time today. McGwire on deck as J.D. Drew steps to the plate. Tripled in the 1st, bounced back to the pitcher in the 4th.
You know, we've talked a little bit about Drew, about all the tools that he has. He's got all 5 major league tools: hit for power, run, throw, catch the ball. He is going to the Arizona Instructional League this fall to get more at bats, even though he has been playing pretty much all the time since June. He needs more at bats, and that will be good for him to go down there and try to win himself a job next year for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Telford. The fans anticipating.
Tony La Russa said after he hit the 2 home runs just a couple of days ago, just yesterday, he was asked to come out and do a curtain call from the fans. Tony La Russa did not want Drew to do it because he was afraid somebody would throw it. And showing up, the other team tried to grab him, but it was too late.
So now McGwire comes to the plate with 2 outs. He is 1 for 6 lifetime against Telford. The one hit was a double. His home run earlier set a National League record for home runs at home. Ted Kluszewski, the previous record holder. 35 here at Busch. McGwire into center. This should stay in the ballpark. It does. So McGwire now 1 for 3 as he swings at the first pitch once again. And now we take it to Houston. Sammy Sosa getting set to bat. Let's join in with Tom Brenneman and Bob Brenly.
So again, we welcome those of you from FX, our sister station. Watching the Cardinals in Montreal. Here it's Sosa leading off the Chicago 6th inning. And there's a fast strike right down the middle. And like we've seen with McGwire all year long, the flash bulbs blinking everywhere here at the Astrodome with better than 50,000 in attendance. Sosa hit number 66 in the game last night. 46 minutes later, McGwire hit his 66, and Big Mac already was 67 today. 1-1. Well, the scoreboard says 2-0. I thought that first pitch was called a strike. That one alone away, and now they correct the scoreboard. It is 2 balls and a strike to Sosa after Reynolds missed there down and away.
Jim Riggleman checking to make sure the count is correct. Oh, give the hit sign. That's good.
For this guy, are you kidding me? Two and one to Sosa. And Reynolds delivers. Whoa, he took something off there and had Sammy well out in front. We also welcome those of you from Fox Sports watching Texas and Seattle today from the Kingdome. Here it's 1-0. The Astros leading the Cubs along with Bob Brenly and our entire Fox crew. I'm Tom Brenneman. Sammy Sosa 1 of 2 in the game. He leads off the inning, a 2-2 pitch. It missed outside and low. Split finger here.
I would think so. That's been Reynolds' go-to pitch throughout the ball game when he's gotten to 2 strikes and needed a strikeout. He's gone to the hard split.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Struck him out. The slower version of the split finger there from Reynolds, and Sosa gone.
Sammy Sosa strikes out. He is now 1 for 3 against the Astros. Mark McGwire also 1 for 3, but his one hit reached the stands in left field. His 67th home run of the season. It's a 3-1 Cardinals lead. Jones, Seganol, and Vladimir Guerrero to face Ibar here in the 6th. 1-2 on Jones, who's 1 for 2 today. Jones, a 27-year-old rookie, made his major league debut earlier this season. What do you think Ken is going through his mind right now?
I think he's probably thinking in 24 hours he's going home. He can get back to his own house, take the phone off the wall, perhaps have dinner with friends, family, whatever, and start to unwind a little bit.
Jones with his second hit of the day, a single to left. McGwire said yesterday he hasn't read many of the newspapers over the last couple of weeks, but he saved all of them. He was also asked about the possibility of a movie based on his and Sammy Sosa's season, and Mark's reaction was, why? Everyone's seen the real thing already.
Because somebody in Hollywood thinks it'll sell. But who do you get to play his part? His arms are too big for all those actors.
Popeye. Second out, 0 for 2.
Yeah, the funny thing about the McGwire situation is the man is he's given up his privacy. The man has no privacy. I bet you there's people trying to follow him home from the ballpark. Can't go to a restaurant without being harassed all the time. It's tough in the situation that he has been in.
Base hit right field. So the Expos with back-to-back singles, runners on first and second with nobody out.
And here it is, the third time around the lineup, the second for Andrews, who led off the fifth with a home run, and they're starting to swing the bats just a little bit better here, and the bullpen in St. Louis starting to get a little more active.
First time the Expos have had multiple base runners today. Jones down at second, Seganol on at first for Vladimir Guerrero. 1 for 2, singled his last time up, and then was caught trying to steal second. A long fly, a foul ball down the right field line. 0-1. Guerrero back in the fourth inning, picked up hit number 200 on the season, 2 shy of the club record set by Al Oliver back in the 1982 season. That should be 202 for Oliver. And you saw Grudzelanic with 201. The second baseman McGwire calls for it in front of J.D. Drew and makes the catch. 1 away in the Expos' 6th.
I thought maybe Al McGwire had called somebody and said, wait a minute, what about those 2 hits I got robbed? Okay, we'll give you the 2. It's 204. But I was under the impression it was 202. And Al Oliver could swing the bat pretty good.
Yes.
Oh, he could hit.
So now Derek May steps in with 1 out. And runners on first and second. May 0 for 2 this afternoon against Ibar. Now the catcher Eli Marrero out for a chat with Manny Ibar.
Going out to the mound, pitching coach Dave Duncan. So maybe the catcher spotted something here, or maybe they're in a little bit of a disagreement as to how they're going to pitch May. Anytime there's any doubt as far as what you're going to do, sometimes it's best to get the boss out there to tell you what to do. Got a young pitcher on the mound.
And Eversgerd and Petkaiser in the pen. That will be all for Manny Ibar, who goes 5 1/3 and receives a nice hand from the sellout crowd here at Busch.
Break through to the new world of Mach 3 from Gillette, the first triple blade shaving system. 3 blades specially positioned to shave progressively closer. You take 1 stroke, it takes 3. So you don't have to shave the same area over and over, which means less irritation. 3 blades, fewer strokes, less irritation. Mach 3 from Gillette. When you get heartburn, indigestion, and pain, don't get these to relieve all your symptoms. When pain this bad grabs you, don't grab these for complete or fast relief. Problems this bad need the 100% solution. Alka-Seltzer, the only one with effervescent power to speed relief and medicines for all your symptoms. Heartburn and pain are no problem with the 100% solution. Alka-Seltzer. And for your worst gas pain, try Alka-Seltzer Gas Relief Liquid Soft Gels.
This might be a good time to talk about the Michelin X1. Thanks to Michelin technology, it gives you long mileage and better wet braking than any rain tire. And that should make everyone on a wet road happy.
Michelin, celebrating 100 years of innovation. Michelin, celebrating 100 years of innovation.
Back in St. Louis, time now for our Michelin trivia question of Mark McGwire. 67 homers this season. How many have been grand slams?
Now, that's a question I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that we have that information somewhere up here very handy.
And we will have the answer for you momentarily. Number 67 earlier, leading Sammy Sosa by 1. And the new pitcher for the Cardinals, southpaw Brian Eversgerd, a former Expo, pitched for Montreal back in '95, his 8th appearance of the season.
As you can see, has not pitched much at all. Only 5 2/3, couple walks, 4 strikeouts. St. Louis has been pretty short of left-handers this entire season in the bullpen. Pretty much going with Lance Painter.
And there's Manny Ibar, who allowed 6 hits in 5 1/3, did not walk anybody, struck out 5 Expos, allowing 1 run so far, and both base runners are Ibar's responsibility. Jones down at second all, the runner on first. 1 out in the Expos 6th with Derek May at the plate.
Big shadows at first base, sun going down here. It's always tougher, I think, to hit in the shadows when the ball's coming from the shade into the sun. Just a little bit more trouble picking it up sometimes.
Now 2-1 on Derek May. May 0 for 2. Caught looking in the second, fly to the warning track in center in the 4th. Now 3-1 on the pinch hitter Barrett. There's Jones out at second all. Runner on first. Barrett out to a terrific start, batting .316 since his recall, and he takes a called strike. 3-2.
You know, this time of the season, last month of the season, when teams can expand their rosters from 25 all the way up to 40 if they want, you bring in a left-handed pitcher to face a left-handed hitter. Oftentimes there's plenty of people on the bench to go to. There's usually a lot more pitchers in the pen to go to. You see a lot of switching this time of year.
Fly ball right field. J.D. Drew 2 away. Jones moves down to third base. So Barrett retired. And now Dave Duncan out to the mound once again. So Eversgerd,
I think
did his job.
I think he's done.
He did his job retiring the pinch hitter Barrett. And with 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning, here comes Mark Petkeisik.
For 100 years, Biv, the Michelin Man, has symbolized the Michelin spirit, our never-ending quest to invent the best tires in the world. Tires to help you get where you're going in comfort and confidence with peace of mind. Michelin, celebrating 100 years of innovation, because so much is riding on your tires.
At Auto Empire, we have big car lots with smaller buildings. We have lower overhead, and we can afford to sell our cars for thousands less than the competition.
The owner of this Blazer saved over $3,000 at Auto Empire and also received a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty, lifetime oil changes, 24-hour roadside assistance, and a money-back guarantee.
Our low overhead means more money in your pocket.
Auto Empire is located in Lockport on 159th and in Posen at 147th and Western Avenue, just off I-57.
Kick off the season right with Media One.
NFL football, Sundays in September at 8:15, 7:15 Central on ESPN and Media One.
FX, please, watch responsibly.
What a season it's been. Some of the outstanding pitching performances of 1998.
How about that man right there, Randy Johnson? What a job he has done since going over to the Houston Astros. And you know, I think the addition of him makes the Houston Astros certainly a team to consider.
The former teammate of Mark McGwire in college, as we mentioned earlier. Randy Johnson 10-1 with Houston. 2 outs, runners on first and third. Mark Petkazik is the third Cardinals pitcher of the afternoon. Bob Henley at the plate, hit by a pitch and struck out. Jones, the runner on third. Seganol down at first. A 3-1 Cardinals lead. Mark McGwire 1 for 3. Hit his 67th of the year. Made the final out in the 5th inning. And for the second time today, Henley is hit by a pitch. First by Ibar and now Petkazik.
We got to find out what the young man did to make somebody a little angry at him. Twice hit, twice in the same spot. Let's listen to this, see if we can pick up anything from the second time he was hit. First time in the second inning. Here we go. I heard an ow.
I think he said ow before he was hit.
Yeah.
So the base is loaded for Shane Andrews, who homered in the 5th inning. His 25th of the season.
Petkazik is the kind of a guy that St. Louis has that every pitching staff needs. A guy that can go long, short, he can start. He's an innings saver. He can go out there and give you some innings when you need innings from somebody to save the pen.
Bounced foul down the third base line. 1-1. Cardinals leading at 3-1. Bases full of Expos with 2 out in the 6th. Holds up 2-1. Petkazik hit the first batter he faced, Henley, with a pitch in the back to load the bases. Now a 2-1 count on Shane Andrews. And Andrews pops it up. Coming up is the third baseman, Tatis, and he collided with the pitcher, Petkazik. Two runs coming to score, and we are tied at 3.
You talk about good hustle on the part of the Expos. They may be out of it, but they are hustling with 2 outs, and that is a terrible, terrible play on the part of the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't care how high or how low the ball is hit. The pitcher's standing there. He's got to be doing something besides looking at the ball. Petkazik has been around for a long time. That is a bad, bad play on the part of the pitcher. He's got to be calling somebody to catch the ball, or at worst, putting his hands up and yelling as loud as he can, "I've got it, I've got it." That ball has got to be caught. Cost him 2 runs.
You think he may have lost it in the sun?
No.
He was just standing there watching.
Well, if he lost it in the sun, he's got to say that. I can't see it. I can't see it. You've got to do something but stand there.
Error charge to the third baseman, Tatis. 2-run score. The Expos tie it. And now have runners on second and third for Cabrera.
didn't look to me like anybody else had lost that ball. We had everybody kind of charging for it. The pitcher's got to tell everybody who's going to catch it. That's his job.
The 2-0 to Cabrera, now 3-0. Tied at 3, top of the 6th inning. Kenny Albert with Ken Brett. Jeff Tolborg was here on Thursday night.
You're working with too many people.
Sorry about that, Ken.
That's all right.
From Busch Stadium in St. Louis, with producer Jim Drake, director Dave Hagan, and our entire FX crew. Mark Petkajcik, the third Cardinals pitcher. Strike call, now 3-1 on the shortstop, Orlando Cabrera.
Well, he talked about a pretty bad 3-0 strike. That pitch looked like it was outside and low.
Henley, the runner on third. Andrews down at second. Off-speed pitch misses. Ball 4, and once again, the bases are loaded. Ken, the San Francisco Giants have won their 6th consecutive game, while the Mets lose their 4th in a row, and the Cubs trail. So for the moment, the Giants in the wild card lead. Expos send out a pinch hitter, Brad Fulmer. Out comes Dave Duncan, and that will be all for Mark Petkajcik, who should have been out of the inning with a 3-1 lead on the infield pop-up. Petkajcik heads to the Cardinals dugout with the bases loaded and the score tied at 3 in the 6th.
Where there's lightning, there's thunder. Now Cornerstone Promotions brings you Power Rock, a collection of 34 high voltage classics.
After midnight, rocking to the dawn. I've got 2 tickets to paradise, can't scratch deeper. Carry on my wayward son. I change. Shoreline, let's live together. It's more than a feeling.
Power Rock is not sold in stores, so call this toll-free number now. Call this toll-free number now for Power Rock. 2 cassettes, $19.98. 2 CDs, $26.98, plus $4.95 shipping. Have your credit card ready and call now.
First you bought a home, and then you fixed it up. You added a deck, landscaped the yard, got furniture, and of course, appliances. Now your home looks great, but your bills are piling up. It's time to call First Plus. At First Plus, you can consolidate those bills into one lower monthly payment, and the interest may be tax deductible. And First Plus gives you more, up to 125% of the value of your home, so you don't need equity. Just call First Plus today at 1-800-510-PLUS.
Expos 3 runs on 6 hits. Cardinals 3 runs, 3 hits, 1 error. And the big blow in the bottom of the 4th inning, as McGwire struck out in the first, and then number 67.
First ball hitting. He swung at the first pitch his first time up, and after the first pitch his second time up. Second time, of course, the big home run. This time high and deep. I mean, his ball's got tremendous hang time. But if you look at the outfielder, it is right there on the warning track. He is 1 for 3 with the big home run.
Sammy Sosa also 1 for 3. In Houston against the Astros. First inning.
Fly ball down the right field line.
Foul out to the first baseman Bagwell in the 3rd. Singles up the middle off Shane Reynolds. And then in the 6th, he strikes out.
I'll tell you one thing. I've never seen a Reynolds pitch in person. Looks like he's got a pretty good straight changeup, and that's the pitch he struck him out on.
Shane Reynolds looking for win number 20. He's 19-8. FP Santangelo is the pinch hitter. And he will drive in 2 as the Expos take a 5-3 lead. On the first pitch from Lance Painter, the 4th Cardinals pitcher of the game, Santangelo drives in numbers 22 and 23 on the season.
Not a very well hit ball here, but I tell you what, first ball swinging Santangelo right off the end of the bat. They try to get the out at third base, but everybody is safe. Runners on second and third, still 2 outs. And Montreal leading 5-3 in an inning that should have been over some time ago.
And the pitch gets away from Marrero. 6-3 Montreal.
If somebody got crossed up here or not, but this was not a hard pitch. This was a breaking ball and just goes off the glove of Guerrero. And now perhaps he was looking for something else. Let's take a look. Right off the glove. I got to believe that's going to be an error, or perhaps a, I don't think it's going to be a wild pitch. It's got to be an error, charge the catcher.
Now 2-0 on Wilton Guerrero. So the Expos have batted around here in the 6th. The Cubs have tied it in Houston. 1-1 in the 7th. McGwire to McGwire, but the damage has been done. The Expos score 5 unearned runs and have taken a 6-3 lead over the Cardinals.
Introducing the Midas battery. Now for just $49.99 with rebate. Batteries, brand new from Midas.
French, German. You're the genius behind the new Speak in a Week foreign language CDs. But can you say global distribution? You know linguistics, not logistics. Entree UPS. The same people you rely on here clear customs electronically and deliver to over 200 countries worldwide. Soon orders are rolling in and everyone's speaking your language.
Bonjour. My city of war.
UPS, moving at the speed of business.
So, you're gonna take your act on the road, huh?
Don't worry.
Well, at Alamo, the going rate is going down.
Drive happy.
All the way down to $21 a day in Florida. And everywhere else in the U.S., just $29 a day. Is this a fun country or what? Call 1-800-GO-ALAMO today.
Don't worry. Drive happy. Drive happy now.
Castrol Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner is uniquely formulated to instantly release brake dust and road grime, so your wheels will look new, even if your car isn't. Castrol Super Clean All-Wheel Cleaner outperforms all leading wheel cleaners.
Welcome back to St. Louis. Our Michelin trivia question once again. How many of Mark McGwire's 67 homers this season have been grand slams? Well, he hit one opening day against Ramon Martinez, and then again off the Diamondbacks' Andy Bennis. 2 grand slams to go along with his 32 solo homers, 27 2-run homers, and 6 3-run shots.
And that about breaks it down. You know, the one thing about the home runs that I've always found was a little unusual. Mark McGwire, 67 home runs. You see the sign right there. Only 3 have been to the right of center field. Every home run but 3 to center field or to the left field foul line. He likes to pull the ball, and that's one of the reasons I've always said you got to pitch him in, because he can take that pitch on the outside corner because of his bat speed and those big long arms, and he can pull that pitch well into the seats.
Well, some strange happenings here in St. Louis in the top of the 6th, and Monday on FX on the X-Files. Some more strange happenings as Mulder uncovers some more clues about a government cover-up involving an alien entity and a sunken World War II aircraft. Watch 100 Nights of the X-Files Monday and every weeknight at 8, only on FX. Over this past week, Cubs fans watched in horror as Brant Brown dropped the fly ball against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Cost him a game.
And Mets fans, when they think back, will remember Mike Maddox, a former Met, the brother of Greg Maddox, who on Wednesday night came in with the bases loaded. Mets had the bases loaded. He retired the next 3 batters, including 2 strikeouts, and that began the Mets' 4-game losing streak.
Mike Maddox signed as a free agent out of the minor leagues by Montreal. That was in January. And one of the great things that he has done for this club, if you talk to Bobby Cuellar, their pitching coach, he's taken a lot of the lead responsibility in the bullpen. Taught kids how to warm up, taught kids about what kind of situations they might see themselves in and what to do in those situations. And he can still get people out on top of that.
He's an unofficial coach.
And at 37 years old, you know, his career probably winding down towards the end. Maybe he's thinking along those lines.
But the Mets will certainly think back to the 7th inning on Wednesday when they led the wild card race. It was the same day. It was a couple of hours after the Brant Brown play. Brian McGwire, spelled differently, of course, M-C-G-U-I-R-E, then Mark McGwire, the new left fielder. But the Mets will think back to that 7th inning. They had the bases loaded, nobody out, and Mike Maddox shut them down. They have not won since. One and 2 on Langford. Off-speed pitch, he got him.
Maddox has got all 4 pitches: fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. This is a curveball. Look at the break on this, but more importantly, look at the location. Look where it ends up. Right down there at the ankles. Doesn't try to throw it too hard, just tries to throw it in the right location.
So now Ron Gant, who drove in a run with a double back in the 4th inning. The Cardinals led 3-1 with 2 outs in the top of the 6th. And then 5 unearned runs. St. Andrews, 2 away. A pop-up off the bat of Andrews with the bases loaded. Tatis came in from 3rd. Petkaiser, Cardinals pitcher. Petkaiser could not get out of the way. It dropped. 2 runs scored. And then 3 more.
You know, sometimes when a pitch is thrown like that, it's not a very well hit ball like the one that we saw that turned into a really bad inning for St. Louis. Sometimes the pitcher is just not taught to catch the ball. A lot of times they're always saying, don't ever catch the ball, let somebody else catch it. Maybe that's what happened. But Kaiser really didn't make an effort to catch the ball. Put his arms up in the air and started screaming, I got it.
2 more runs scored. On a base hit by the pinch hitter, Santangelo. And another run came in on a pass ball. So the Expos now leading it by the score of 6-3 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Mike Maddox, the 3rd Expos pitcher. Strike called, 2-2. Mark McGwire hit number 67. Dustin Hermanson back in the 4th. No decision for Hermanson. As well as Manny Ibar. Just misses on the outside corner. 3-2.
You know, one of the things about Maddox that impresses me is he's a pitcher that knows what he's doing. He's pitched for a long time, spent a lot of time down in the minor leagues, a lot of time bouncing around the big leagues. He doesn't look like he's trying to do too much out there. He knows how to pitch. He's not trying to overthrow the ball. He's trying to throw the ball for strikes, change speeds.
Foul ball, just foul, says first base umpire Rich Rieker.
And some guys don't learn that trick for a long time. Some guys go out to the mound, they think they got to make perfect pitches, which is entirely not the case. You got to make good pitches and consistent pitches. Nobody goes out to the mound, I think, ever expecting to be perfect. But if you can get ahead, you're going to get outs.
I think one guy may go out there expecting to be perfect. His brother.
Yeah, he's the exception. And there are exceptions to all rules.
Foul back towards the Expos dugout. So the count remains 3 balls, 2 strikes on Fernando Tatis, who's 0 for 1 today in the second to last game of the 1998 regular season for Mark McGwire and the St. Louis Cardinals. Base hit left center. Tatis trying for 2.
Tatis has now hit 15 of his last 17 ball games. He's always had good speed. Goes down and gets that pitch pretty good. He knows it's in the gap, and he knows when he rounds first base, he's going to look up and make that decision himself. Runs hard, gets himself a double. You know, I was talking to Don Rowe the other day, who's the pitching coach for the Milwaukee Brewers, and he told me something pretty unusual. He told me that the Milwaukee Brewers pitching staff, basically because of a lot of injuries, was like an expansion pitching staff. And he told me something. A pitcher needs about 30 starts in the big leagues before he really starts to get an idea of what he's doing and how to pitch. And he said, I'll give you a couple examples of that. Maddox from Atlanta, Glavine from Atlanta, and Leiter all had losing records their first 30 big league starts. All 3 of those guys have turned out pretty good pitchers. You got to have some patience with your young staff.
Luis Ordaz flies out to the center fielder Jones, and that will do it for the Cardinals in the 6th. They strand a runner and trail the Expos 6-3.
This week on Major Movie Sunday, it's true love, giant deals, fabulous sword fights, a really big rat, and a man who can bring back the dead.
I've seen worse.
Robin Wright, Carrie Elwes, Billy Crystal, The Princess Bride. Then,
I'm a romance novelist. You're what?
if they don't kill each other, they might just get rich. Kathleen Turner, Michael Douglas, Danny DeVito.
I was about to have a close encounter with a cattle prod.
Romancing the Stone. It all starts Sunday at 6 p.m. on F.
Imagine if your home were transformed into a haunted house. Would you be freaked? Find out by entering the AMC Monster Fest House of Horror sweepstakes. Win and see your home transmogrified into a haunted house. Get your family monster makeovers along with other spine-tingling prizes. To enter, send your name, age, address, and phone number to AMC House of Horrors, P.O. Box 7654, Melville, New York 11775, or enter online at amctv.com.
Come on.
You can count on us.
Come on.
Come on to Joliet Dodge. We're Will County's largest Dodge dealer. We're just 1 mile west of Larkin on Jefferson Street in Joliet.
Can we deliver?
Count on it.
Oh, yeah.
Count on a better selection, better service, and we guarantee a better deal. Come see us. Remember, our job is your complete satisfaction.
You can count on us.
At Joliet Dodge.
NYPD Blue, Tuesday through Friday at 9 on FX.
Mark McGwire, his 67th home run earlier, and he is our Gillette key performer.
You know, the great thing about this home run race is I think a lot of people have talked about, you know, guys like McGwire and other guys who had the power and the capability of hitting so many home runs. But I think the thing that's made it so sweet is the race that we have had all season long.
Well, Sammy Sosa heading to the plate in Houston, so let's join Fox Sports, Tom Brenneman and Bob Brentley.
We welcome those of you from FX watching Montreal, St. Louis, and Mark McGwire is hit number 67 today. And those of you on Fox Sports tuned into Texas and Seattle. Magnante retired the first batter of the inning, left-handed batting Mickey Morandini. And now Larry Durker is going to bring in a right-hander, Jay Powell, to face Sammy Sosa.
So a pitching change in Houston will return as soon as Sosa steps to the plate. Top of the 7th here in St. Louis. A new pitcher for the Cardinals, 28-year-old right-hander John Frascatore. Terry Jones got things started in the 6th with a leadoff single, his second hit of the game. Frascatore's team-leading 68th appearance.
Took the Cardinals 4 pitchers to get through that last inning. 5 unearned runs were scored against Ibar, Eversgerd, Petrizik, and Painter. And Frascatore, fastball, slider, and a forkball on the mound now.
Backhanded by McGwire. Run away. Well, the playoffs get underway this Tuesday night, and you'll be able to catch the action on Fox starting at 8 Eastern as the New York Yankees host either the Texas Rangers or the Cleveland Indians on Fox, the exclusive home of the 1998 World Series, as was the case in '96 when the Yankees beat the Braves in 6. Fernando Seganol takes a strike. He's 1 for 3. 112 and 48.
They lost, what, 3 of their first 4 ball games.
Again, backhanded by McGwire. The toss to Frascatore. 2 away. Number 67 for McGwire. Sammy Sosa with 66 home runs. And in just a moment, we will take you back to Houston for Sosa's 4th at-bat of the afternoon. He fouled out, singled, and struck out. Once again to Tom Brenneman and Bob Brentley.
Well, those from FX, we thought you never went away. And for those of you watching our Fox Sports coverage of Texas and Seattle, welcome back to the Astrodome in Houston. A 1-1 game. We're in the 8th inning, and now on to face Sammy Sosa, who is 1 of 3 in the game. His 1 hit being a single is right-hander Jay Powell.
Jay Powell, very much a hard-throwing power pitcher. Been on a good streak lately. Has allowed just 2 earned runs in his last 12 appearances. However, the Cubs felt that if they were going to have any chance against the Astros in this series, they were going to have to do it against the middle relievers of the Houston Astros.
Well, here's their chance. Sosa with nobody on, 1 out, and he's down a strike. Sammy fouled out to the first baseman Bagwell in the 1st inning. He singled to center field against Shane Reynolds in the 3rd. Then Reynolds struck him out swinging on a 3-2 split finger in the 6th. Sosa hit number 66 here in the game last night. McGwire tied him 46 minutes later, and Big Mac has already hit 67 today. Chase that hard slider down and away, and Sosa behind 0-2. Sosa and his team trying to get to the postseason for the first time since '89. Number 67 right now would be his biggest home run. Well, he had a good cut, fouled it straight back.
After a couple of sliders away, Powell tries to sneak a fastball by Sammy Sosa on the 2-strike count. Sammy with a pretty good rip at that pitch, just fouls it back off the screen behind home plate.
Powell looks in, gets a sign from Eusebio in the 0-2 in the dirt.
He tried to overthrow that pitch just a little bit. He made a couple of very nice pitches on the outside corner with those sliders early in the count. Came back with a couple of fastballs. Probably has Sammy set up to go back away with the slider again.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Sosa. And a high pop foul out of play. first base side. Powell may have gotten away with one right there.
Well, you've got that right. That was another slider. He's trying to make the perfect pitch. He made 2 good pitches early in the count. Just staying relaxed, making a good pitch on the outside part of the plate. He tries to hump up and throw the world's best slider, and it just hangs in the middle of the plate. Very fortunate that Sosa only fouled that pitch off.
The Mets have lost. The Giants have won. San Francisco, the leaders in the wild card. The Cubs are trying to knot it back up. On the ground, base hit left field for Sammy Sosa. He represents a go-ahead run. It's his second hit of the ball game.
Sammy Sosa now 2 for 4, his second single of the afternoon. Mark McGwire 1 for 3 with a home run, a solo shot with 1 out in the 4th. The only Cardinal to pinch hit for McGwire this season is coming to the plate right now as a pinch hitter, Placido Polanco.
I'd like to know what the situation regarding that was.
It was a 13-1 game in San Diego. Cardinals won it 13-1.
And he still got booed.
Yes.
He got to run out of town.
So Polanco pinch hitting.
And that'll be one of those trivia questions one of these days.
Pinch hitting for the pitcher Frascatori, who retired the Expos in order in the top of the 7th. Polanco, Marrero, and McGwire scheduled here in the 7th. So McGwire will have at least one more at bat today. With the Cardinals trailing 6-3, the Expos scored 5 unearned runs in the top of the 6th. St. Louis led this game 3-0. From Mike Maddox, working his second inning. Fly ball center field. Jones 1 away. Well, Ken, our FX interactive fan question brought to you by MCI and Matthew Maitland of Covina, California would like to know what our World Series predictions are.
Houston.
Took the word right out of my mouth.
And I don't think anybody's talking about Houston. They're talking about the Yankees and they're talking about Atlanta. 2 great teams. I think Randy Johnson gives Houston all they need.
I'll go with Houston and the Yankees.
Okay, I'll take the Yankees too, then. We're even on that.
1 out, Eli Marrero, 0 for 2. And we also had the opportunity before the game to sit down and select our award winners in both leagues, and we'll get to that in just a moment. (6-3) Expos, bottom of the 7th. The 2-0 for Maddox. 2-1. Now 2-2 on Marrero. In the air to left. Ryan McGwire on the run, makes the catch. Up against the wall.
You know, McGwire did not start in this ball game. Derek May started in left field, but McGwire has had a lot of time out there in left field defensively. I thought this ball when he left the bat was going to be gone. Kind of ran out of gas. Or look at him go right up against the wall. Nice catch. Bang. Holds on.
So the other McGwire in this afternoon's game. The highlight film catch for the second out in the Cardinals' 7th. Here's Joe McGwire, who's grounded out to short all 3 plate appearances today. He is now 1 for 15 in his major league career. The only hit coming off Randy Johnson. How do you explain that?
It's probably his first big league at bat. And Randy's probably still mad about that.
good news, bad news situation. Gets a hit off Randy Johnson, 0 for 14 against everybody else.
But I got that big hit. I got the ball.
That's the one he'll remember.
Don't ask Randy to sign it, however.
Well, Randy won the game.
Still don't ask him to sign it.
2-1 on McEwing. If he is erased, McGwire would bat second in the 8th. Fly ball, right center. And there is career hit number 2 off the bat of Joe McEwing. Does it this time off Mike Maddox. In Houston, Gary Gaetti, the former Cardinal, a 2-run double, giving the Cubs a 3-1 lead in the top of the 8th. Should they hold on, Chicago would remain tied with San Francisco, a game ahead of the Mets, as Felipe Alou heads out to the mound. And that will be all for Mike Maddox. With 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning, Maddox exits. And we'll return to Busch Stadium in St. Louis on FX Baseball Saturday.
French, German. You're the genius behind the new Speak in a Week foreign language CDs. But can you say global distribution? You know linguistics, not logistics. Entree UPS. The same people you rely on here clear customs electronically and deliver to over 200 countries worldwide. Soon orders are rolling in and everyone's speaking your language.
Bonjour. My city of war.
UPS, moving at the speed of business.
Looks like Taz just got his AT&T phone bill. Taz, don't you make a lot of calls on Sunday?
Yeah, Taz call.
Then use NCI 5-cent Sundays. It's just 5 cents a minute every Sunday. AT&T charges 3 times as much. Uh-oh. Taz, just call 1-800-SUNDAY. Become an NCI customer.
Break through to the new world of Mach 3 from Gillette, the first triple blade shaving system. 3 blades specially positioned to shave progressively closer. You take 1 stroke, it takes 3. So you don't have to shave the same area over and over, which means less irritation. 3 blades, fewer strokes, less irritation. Mach 3 from Gillette.
Back in St. Louis, 6-3 Expos. Well, we promised you our picks for the various Major League awards. We agree on the National League MVP, Sammy Sosa, Kerry Wood, Todd Helton, potential rookies of the year.
Well, I always thought a pitcher is going to get the rookie pitcher of the year. I like a player to get the player of the year.
Bruce Bochy, my pick for manager of the year from San Diego. You go with Larry Durkett. In the American League, we agree on Grieve, Clemens, and Torrey. I was split between Garcia Parra and Juan Gonzalez, and then I looked at the 157 runs batted in.
They're all pretty good players.
They are checking it out from the top of the arch, just behind left field here at Busch Stadium. J.D. Drew steps in against the new pitcher, 24-year-old left-hander Tim Young. Drew 1 for 2 with a triple back in the 1st inning. McEwing, the runner on second, he doubled. If Drew reaches,
I don't think
it'll be McGwire's turn.
I don't think we're going to see him for the next inning.
Another run batted in for J.D. Drew. It is now 6-4 Montreal. Felipe Alou out to the mound. RBI number 13 in 13 games for J.D. Drew. So Tim Young faces one batter. And Drew drives in McGwire. Kirk Bullinger will be the new Expos pitcher.
You know, one thing about J.D. Drew, I don't think when he was in college he ever came out for a pinch hitter for anybody. He has faced plenty of left-handed pitchers in his life. Maybe not some of the great left-handed pitchers in this National League, but he has faced left-handed pitchers. He stayed in there very well on that pitch. Got himself another big base hit in the eyes of his manager. Got himself another big RBI. And here's a kid you got to keep your eyes and ears open for. Spring training 1999.
The San Francisco Giants and the Chicago Cubs. Giants winning today, Cubs leading. Should the Mets come back and win the wild card, which would now take the playoff following tomorrow.
The Mets all of a sudden have a little bit of a road to haul on. The Giants, of course, could be tied with the Cubs going into the last game of the season. There you get a look at Mark McGwire. He is the hitter due up. 2 outs, 1 run is in, runner on second. Or make that a runner on first. And the new pitcher, right-hander Kirk Bullinger. Sinker, slider, changeup.
And we'd like to welcome those of you watching on Fox Sports to a special edition of FX Baseball Saturday. Kenny Albert, Ken Brett in St. Louis. Kirk Bullinger is the 5th Expos pitcher of the game. Montreal scored 5 unearned runs in the 6th. They lead the Cardinals 6-4 with 2 outs. 1 run in. J.D. Drew the runner on first. Here comes Mark McGwire, who hit number 67 back in the 4th inning.
He's going to face Bullinger, who is a low 3/4 type of pitcher. Throw strikes, has got to keep the ball down, change of speed's pretty good. And as we said just a moment ago, sinker, slider, changeup.
McGwire 1 for 3, struck out in the 1st, homer to the 4th, fly to center in the 5th inning. He swung at the first pitch all 3 at bats. Outside for ball 1. Called by the home plate umpire Brian Gorman. 1-1.
Notice where the catcher wanted that ball. The catcher wanted that ball pretty much on the inside half of the plate, and he got it right over the middle. They're going inside again.
And McGwire drills this one to center. There is number 68. For Mark McGwire. His 9th multi-homer game of the year.
Take a look at the pitch here. Watch where the catcher sets up. He wants the ball in. And he wants the ball in off the plate. Look at where the ball ends up. He's got to move the glove outside 8, 10, 12 inches, right in the zone.
And Ray Lankford with a base hit to left. The Cardinals' 4th consecutive hit. They have tied the score at 6.
And if you go back and look at this inning, the first 2 hitters coming to the plate, Polanco and Marrero, easy, very quick outs, and then a double, a single, a home run, another single. We are knotted up at 6.
And Dustin Hermanson and Kirk Bullinger allow numbers 67 and 68 on this second to last day of the 1998 season as McGwire pulls 2 ahead of Sammy Sosa.
And I'm looking for Lankford here to look for an opportunity, perhaps to run, try to get himself into scoring position right here. 25 stolen bases over at first base.
Ron Gant 1 for 3 with an RBI. There goes Lankford. The throw from Henley, not in time. Steal number 26.
If you're going to throw him a fastball in, make sure you throw it in. Look at him, get around on that ball. I tell you, look at him, points the bat. But that's a classic stance. And he hits him so far, there's no doubt that they're gone. Looks like a scrum.
Somebody got it.
Maybe not yet.
Sammy Sosa running out of time.
I think Sammy's happy he's leading right now 3-1 down in Houston.
Lankford looking to steal third, but Gant fouled it back.
Now there's a situation where if you're stealing third with 2 outs with the speed that Lankford has, you better be able to make it standing up, because you're just as good on second base. You're still going to score from the base hit. With 1 out, I can see that. 2 outs, you better make it. Well, this crowd has come, and they have seen what they came to see this afternoon.
They are still on their feet. It's been well chronicled that Mark's son, Matt, before the season, asked his father, can you hit 65? Well, he reached 65. And at that point, when the story made the rounds, Mark's teammate Tom Lampkin said, well, I'm now going to ask you to hit 71. How about that? And give me the baseball when you do it.
Probably said, if I do, you got it.
0-2 on Gant. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
The funny thing about all these home runs McGwire hits, he seems to get hot, and he hits them in bunches. He can hit 5 and 6 in 1 week, go 3 or 4 games without one, and then come right back.
He's hit 3 in less than 24 hours. Gant pops it up. Shallow center. The catch is made by Jones. But the Cardinals tie it as Mark McGwire hits number 68.
Where can you find the latest stats and participate in live chats? At MajorLeagueBaseball.com, the place for live game audio and video highlights, player profiles, historical facts, and updated scores. Click on to loads of information on all 30 Major League Baseball teams. Catch all the latest baseball news and drop us an email on how you're enjoying the telecast. That's MajorLeagueBaseball.com. What a sight to see.
Kick off the season right with Media One. NFL football, Sundays in September at 8:15, 7:15 Central on ESPN and Media One.
It's Empire's Millennium Carpet Sale. No interest, no monthly payments till the year 2000. With 50% off Empire's best carpets. Empire brings samples to your home, installs the next day, and you won't make a payment until January 2000. Plus, you'll get 2 free Beanie Babies with your order. So call now. You'll save on carpet, and you won't make a payment till 2000.
588-2300 Empire.
FX, please, watch responsibly.
Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, both 2 for 4 today, but the difference, Sosa with a pair of singles, McGwire with a pair of home runs.
Sammy Sosa, of course, worried about winning the ball game. McGwire, look at him go down and get the ball. He loves the ball down. He loves the ball out over the plate. Oh, he knew it was gone, and now the scrum begins. I mean, they're going for this ball, folks.
Updating the numbers. '68 homers, 143 RBI. That last one traveled 435 feet to center field. New pitcher for the Cardinals as we move to the 8th. It's Jeff Brantley, the 6th St. Louis pitcher of the game, with the score tied at 6. Is that McGwire's home run total, or is it the Cardinals' line score? They have 6 runs on 8 hits.
Everywhere over town. 68. The numbers are changing all over the place. In fact, if you look at the sign across the street, it still has 67.5. They're getting ready to change that as well.
McGwire batting for the first time. Ken, how about the symmetry? Last season on the final Saturday of the year against the Cubs, McGwire hit 2 and then hit another one the next day. His 58th of the year. 3 the last 2 games.
58 last year, at least 68 this year. I mean, the question is, what is he going to do next year? Granted, the pitching is a little thin, but the bottom line is this guy has got tremendous power. He's having a tremendous year. The question he asks is, you know, what is he going to do next year?
He's not thinking about next year yet.
No, I don't think so. I think he's thinking about, you know, the offseason, a little rest and relaxation.
Now 3-1 on Ryan McGwire. Fouls it off. 3-2. The Texas Rangers clinched the American League West last night. The San Francisco Giants won their 6th in a row earlier today. The Cubs lead the Astros 3-1. Should they hold on, Giants and Cubs would remain tied for the wild card lead, 1 game ahead of the Mets. Ball 4, so the Expos have the leadoff man on here in the 8th.
I guess one thing you might want to consider if you're following that American League race is who's going to win the most games, Cleveland or Texas. Right now, Texas at Seattle, having already clinched. Texas is down 5-2 in the 8th inning. Cleveland playing tonight at Minnesota. And of course, whoever wins the least games get the mighty Yankees.
Yes. So Mark McGwire holding Ryan McGwire on at first. Batter is Bob Henley with no outs in the top of the 8th. Tied at 6. Bounced foul back behind third base. 0-1.
Last week, Cleveland went to New York to play a doubleheader in a single game, and the Yankees thrashed them. I mean, they beat them up and down, in and out, and they beat them bad. And Joe Torre said last night after the ball game, he thinks his club is ready.
won a team record 112 games. Leading the Devil Rays 3-0 in the ninth, looking to make it 113. Big swing by Henley, 0-2. Henley's been hit by 2 pitches today, which is more unusual than a 2-home run game for McGwire. He's been hit by 2 different pitchers.
Usually when a guy gets hit twice in a game, he has really made somebody mad.
He hasn't been in the majors long enough to make anybody mad.
I don't think so, unless maybe he did something at Double-A somebody didn't like.
Cardinals scoring 3 in the 4th, 3 in the 7th. He sandwiched around 6 Montreal Expo runs, 5 unearned in the top of the 6th. McGwire tied the score with his 68th. Inside, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, we haven't really had a chance to talk about Brantley in this ball game. Brantley has 14 saves for the Cardinals, but right now the save guy out of the Cardinal bullpen is Juan Acevedo. But don't think that Brantley's out of the picture for next year. He's coming off some arm problems from last year. He has pitched good this year. He just needs to get himself in better condition.
Bounce to short. Or dash to McEwen to McGwire. And the Cardinals turn the 6-4-3. Well, Ken, tune in tomorrow for a Fox Sports News special. Baseball 98, one for the record books. The Yankees' dominance, blockbuster trades, the end of Cal's streak, nail-biting playoff races, and the home run chase. McGwire and Sosa. A complete look back at a magical season. Baseball 98, one for the record books. Live Sunday at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. Check the local listings. Shane Andrews homered earlier. Back in the 5th inning, his 25th of the season. And his 3rd against the Cardinals this year. Two outs, nobody on, top of the 8th. Tied at 6 from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. 1-1. Batter back in the 6th inning with 2 outs and the bases loaded when the pop-up caused the near collision between the pitcher Petkazik and the 3rd baseman Tatis. The error charged to Tatis, 2 runs scored, then 3 more, and the Expos took a 6-3 lead. Jeff Bagwell has homered off Cubs closer Rod Beck. So Chicago with a 1-run lead now in the bottom of the 9th at the Astrodome. Three and 1 on Andrews. Full count.
Brantley's a guy that's been around for a long time. You go back and look what he did in '96 for Cincinnati. Had 44 saves, 97, unhealthy with a bad shoulder. This year trying to come back from the bad shoulder. At times has been just like his old self, but just not as consistent.
Foul back, so the count remains 3 balls, 2 strikes on Shane Andrews. For the big guy today. McGwire has now hit 36 home runs here at Busch Stadium. If if he did not hit any home runs on the road, those 36 would be among the top 10 in both the National League and the American.
As far as home runs. Well, the nice thing about McGwire is he's not very choosy as to where he hits them.
No. 36 here, 32 elsewhere. He only had one against the Expos coming into the series. He's quadrupled that total. And Brentley strikes out Andrews to end the Expos' 8th. Coming up for the Cards, Tatis, Ordaz, and the pitcher's spot.
Looks like Taz just got his AT&T phone bill. Taz, don't you make a lot of calls on Sunday?
Yeah, task call.
Then use MCI 5-cent Sundays. It's just 5 cents a minute every Sunday. AT&T charges 3 times as much. Taz, just call 1-800-SUNDAY. Become an MCI customer.
French, German.
You're the genius behind the new Speak in a Week foreign language CDs. But can you say global distribution? You know linguistics, not logistics. Entree UPS. The same people you rely on here clear customs electronically and deliver to over 200 countries worldwide. Soon orders are rolling in and everyone's speaking your language.
Bonjour. My city of war.
UPS, moving at the speed of business.
When you get heartburn, indigestion, and pain, don't get these to relieve all your symptoms. When pain this bad grabs you, don't grab these for complete or fast relief. Problems this bad need the 100% solution. Alka-Seltzer, the only one with effervescent power to speed relief and medicines for all your symptoms. Heartburn and pain are no problem with the 100% solution. Alka-Seltzer. And for your worst gas pain, try Alka-Seltzer Gas Relief Liquid Soft Gels.
Baseball Saturday on FX is brought to you by Gillette Mach 3, the first triple blade razor. Welcome back to Busch Stadium in St. Louis. 6-6 score as we move to the bottom of the 8th inning. Two generations of baseball fans witnessing history this afternoon as Mark McGwire connected in the 4th inning off Dustin Hermanson, and then in the 7th against Curtin Bullinger. And the 6th pitcher of the day for the Montreal Expos.
Urbina. How do you pronounce that first name? I keep on messing it up. Ugev. Ugev. Look at that. Hits to innings pitched. 37 to 68. That's about as good a percentage as you are going to see in Major League Baseball. 18 straight save opportunities. They're bringing him in here in the 8th inning of a tie ball game. Now let's take a look at the scouting report. 18 straight, 95-mile-an-hour fastball, sometimes a little harder. Slider changeup. He can get you out in any of his pitches. He's a strikeout pitcher. One other stat that I think we should mention here, he has retired 51 of the first 63 batters he has faced, and that is an outstanding 81% of first batter outs.
I thought what you were going to say is that he is the only player in Major League history with the initials UUU.
That I did. His middle initial is U?
Yes. We've now discussed middle initials or middle names on more than one occasion today, which is a new record.
Yeah, there they're finally getting around to it up there.
And if this game remains tied, we very well might see Mr. McGwire one more time. Fernando Tatis leading off the bottom of the 8th. He's having a hard time getting that 8 to stay up there. Who, as you mentioned, has saved 18 in a row.
He's got the best ERA of any closer in the National League, to give you an idea of how good and how consistent he's been.
1.32. Here's the 1-2. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, it's not too often you see a closer coming into a tie ball game. Granted, there's only 2 games left in the season, but it's not too often you see a situation like this.
Especially when the Expos aren't really playing for anything. Popped up. Foul territory. No room for Seganoff. Tied at 6. Both teams have used 6 pitchers. Mark McGwire started the day with 66 home runs.
Here we go. We're talking about numbers.
The 3-2 from Urbina, ball 4. So the leadoff man is on for the Cardinals as Tatis walks.
I would imagine in a situation like this, bottom of the 8th, you're going to see Ordaz up there, obviously in a bunt situation. St. Louis would like to get a run here, take a win, go home. Already the third baseman, Andrews, 5-6 steps in on the bag at third.
It will be Ordaz and then a pinch hitter, John Mabry. Tatis the runner on first as Ordaz lays down the bunt and moves Tatis over to second. Well executed.
Outstanding bunt right there. Bunt the ball, get it away from the pitcher, get it away from that third baseman who's charging, bunted toward first. Well done first pitch. 1 out now, winning run on second base. Those are the things you like to see as a manager. Get the little things done.
John Mabry, 8 for 25 as a pinch hitter. He's the guy who has taken a lot of heat this year whenever Mark McGwire has sat out a game. And Mabry the replacement at first base. And he's hit a number of home runs on those days. Tatis the runner on second. In a 6-6 ball game. And Mabry's bat goes flying into the camera pit next to the Cardinals dugout. Retrieved by manager Tony La Russa. Cubs hold on despite the Bagwell homer. They defeat the Astros 3-2. So the only way the Mets can force a playoff is if they win tomorrow and both the Giants and the Cubs lose. If either the Giants or the Cubs win and the other loses, it would be over. Mabry, fly ball, deep right. Vladimir Guerrero. Tatis will tag. So a runner on third with 2 out. And here's how the game came to an end in Houston. Ron Beck on the mound. Dave Clark at the plate. 2 outs in the 9th. A bouncer. Beck tries to tag Clark, misses, and the throw hits Clark. He is ruled out.
He's ruled out because he's out of the baseline. Look at him go out of the baseline right there. The ball hits him. Eric Gregg
says
you're out.
He was out of the baseline. So Jim Riggleman and the Chicago Cubs remain tied with the San Francisco Giants.
I don't think he knew if he was going to go out and argue or celebrate right there.
He knew he was going out for something.
Yeah.
So the Cubs put an end to their 2-game losing streak. Right here, a runner on third, Tatis. Guerrero 0 for 3. 2 outs. Cardinals need a base hit. Now are the fans rooting for a base hit or for the inning to end? If the Cardinals remain tied, McGwire would bat third in the ninth.
Fans want to go a little extra tonight.
Yes.
They want to go at least 9.
So you may hear a collective groan if the Cardinals take the lead right here.
You may see a collective exit.
Fouled back. Off the press box, 1-2. For the Expos in the ninth, Cabrera, the pitcher spot, and then Wilton Guerrero. There's Tatis down at third. The Yankees have won their 113th ball game, 3-0 over the Devil Rays. Joe McEwing waiting on deck. He kept the 7th inning alive with 2 outs. He doubled. And then J.D. Drew singled him home. One batter later, McGwire hit number 68. There's Drew. Urbina set. Tatis on third. The 1-2 struck him out. So McGwire will come to the plate in the bottom of the ninth. First, the top of the ninth upcoming. We are tied at 6.
They've already invented a machine that washes dishes. It's called a woman.
FX, please, watch responsibly.
This week on Penn & Teller's Sand City Spectacular, we assault your senses with the softer side of Jerry Springer and swing with Big Bad Voodoo Daddy.
Penn & Teller's Sin City Spectacular, Monday at 9, only on FX.
The action's out of control on Media One pay-per-view. Caution, restraint, you won't find it here. Pain, punishment, abuse, just their typical day at work. For these are men who conquer fear. Athletes who defy gravity as well as convention. Call it attitude. WWF Breakdown in your house live Sunday, September 27th, only on Media One pay-per-view.
Hi, I'm Al Meyer, president of Willowbrook Ford, and we're very pleased to announce our first store-wide new truck sale. We have dramatically reduced the price on all remaining 1998s in stock. All prices clearly marked on the windshield, including Ranger, F-Series, Vans, Expeditions, and Explorers. This is a sale you can't miss, and I promise you it'll be worth your time. Willowbrook Ford, located a half-mile north of I-55 on Route 83.
X-Files, weeknights at 8 on FX.
Baseball Saturday on FX has been brought to you by MCI. One team, one company, one local to global connection. Welcome back to FX Baseball Saturday. As we head to the ninth, tied at 6. Mark McGwire will get another shot in the bottom of the ninth. New pitcher for the Cardinals, their 7th of the game. 25-year-old right-hander Mike Busby.
He's been up and down quite a bit this year, but he's done 25 games here at the big league level for St. Louis. He is 5-1, having pitched 45 innings. Opponent's batting average right now at .250, which means about 1 every 4 hitters against him will get a base hit. Of course, the lower that batting average is against a pitcher, the better the stuff the pitcher has, the better control, the better idea. You don't like hitters hit 300 off you. 250 is about average.
Orlando Cabrera will lead it off for the Expos. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. In case you're wondering, Mark McGwire has hit 3 home runs in a game twice this year. Back on April 14th against the Diamondbacks, again May 19th in Philadelphia. He became the 12th player to hit 3 home runs in a game twice in one season. He's hit 2 today and will bat third in the bottom of the ninth inning. For the Expos, in the top of the ninth, it's Cabrera, and then Scott Livingstone will pinch hit for the pitcher Urbina. 2-1. card getting crowded. Busby, the 7th Cardinals pitcher. The Expos will use a 7th in the bottom of the 9th. Busby delivers. Cabrera, fly ball, left center. On the run is Langford, and it's off the wall. Cabrera into third with a stand-up triple to lead off the top of the 9th.
And that ball just kept going and going and going. I thought the center fielder Langford was going to run it down. He just kept on going back because the ball kept on drifting on him. Pitch is up in the strike zone here. He just tees off on that ball. Now, Cabrera's been up since middle of June, and really the latter part of June. That ball's about 6 inches to a foot away from being a home run here. And of course, with his speed, he's on third with nobody out. Timeout now called on the field. Tony La Russa wants to go out and talk it over with Busby. Of course, the infield now, Kenny has got to play in. This is a potential winning run at third base.
5th triple of the season for Cabrera. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted without written consent. So with nobody out, the Expos have a runner on third against Mike Busby. Scott Livingstone will pinch hit. He's 10 for 40, batting .250 as a pinch hitter this season with 7 runs batted in. Tony La Russa scratching Livingstone's name off the lineup card. The executive producers of FX Baseball Saturday are Arthur Smith and Bill Porson. The coordinating producer is Larry Myers. As Busby delivers, strike one call. Terrific job by our entire crew, not only this afternoon, but throughout the 1998 season here on FX. Our producer today doing another wonderful job is Jim Drake, our director Dave Hagan, bringing you all the pictures as the Expos take the lead. Livingstone drives in Cabrera with an RBI double. It is now 7-6 Montreal.
Montreal will not go away in this ball game in spite of what McGwire is trying to do to him.
So Tony La Russa's club now trails 7-6. Cabrera scores the go-ahead run. And just to tie up some loose ends, the head of field operations is Andrea Jenkins. Mike Mordecai will pinch run for Livingstone.
With the right kind of outs here, Montreal could get themselves an extra run. A ground ball and a fly ball would get the job done right here.
Wilton Guerrero, 1 for 4. He tripled back in the 3rd inning. One of 3 triples in the game today. He squares to bunt and takes ball 1. As we check out the defense, third baseman Tatis and the first baseman McGwire on the edge of the grass.
McGwire could make a play at third if the ground ball was hit to him, and the way the second baseman's playing right now, he could conceivably see himself going to third as well on a ground ball.
Bunts it out in front of the plate, and the catcher Marrero fires to first. So Guerrero moves the pinch runner Mordecai down to third.
Good smart baseball right there on the part of the Expos, and I'm sure Felipe Alou saw the right side of the infield right there. If they take something away from you as a manager, there's still other things you can do. And now they've got the runner at third. With only 1 out, the fly ball gets them another run.
Expos have gone on top 7-6. Only 2 of their 7 runs earned. They scored 5 unearned in the 6th inning. But the big story, a pair of home runs for Mark McGwire. Terry Jones, 2 for 4. And he takes ball 1.
And of course, here's another situation where if you don't think Terry Jones is going to give you the fly ball, you can always consider the squeeze play right here.
Sox have won today. The Giants have won. Mets lost. McGwire with a pair. 1-1. The count on Terry Jones.
I'm thinking squeeze definitely now. That was a pretty weak cut right there. Fooled pretty badly was Jones. And of course, even though the pitcher on the mound is a right-hander, he's going from the stretch position. The squeeze play's a little tougher, but if you execute it correctly, you could still get the job done.
I don't think the fans even care about the score. They're just waiting for McGwire in the bottom of the ninth. Even Tony La Russa said after last night's game, my primary concern over the next 2 days is Mark McGwire and how many home runs he hits.
Get him his at-bats. If somebody's on base, anchor them to the bag. Don't try to disrupt the big fella. Just let him take his hacks.
Although La Russa did say when asked that he would not bat McGwire in the leadoff spot in order to get extra at-bats. 1-2 on Jones as Busby delivers, and Jones fouls it back. Where would today's game rate with McGwire hitting number 67 and 68 among some of the things you've seen throughout your playing and broadcasting career?
Where would it rate?
And what are some of the other big moments that come to mind that you've seen in person?
As a player, as a broadcaster, I think, you know, I did a game once when Roger Clemens struck out 20, and that was pretty exciting. Of course, I played with Carl Yastrzemski when he was the last player to win the Triple Crown. That was a pretty exciting experience because, of course, you're there with him all season long, and you get a chance to see it happen. I think if you play the game for a long time and you broadcast for a long time, you get an opportunity to see wonderful things happen.
Jones with a ground ball to the shortstop. Ordaz goes to the plate. They got him. And Mordecai can't believe it.
Pretty good defensive play right there. Ordaz, no doubt what he was going to do with the ball. And as soon as the ball made contact with the bat, Mordecai coming home. Look at him. Here he comes. Shortstop is in. 1 step, 2, throws to the plate. Does he tag him? Missed the bag anyway. But the umpire says he did get it.
If he missed the tag and Mordecai missed the plate, Corbin would not have signaled.
Yeah, just stand, put a hand in your pocket. Sorry,
Yep.
guys. And then it's a dance. You see the old dance that goes on between the runner and the catcher.
So there's Jones on at first. Fernando Seganal 1 for 4. He scored a run. And he takes ball 1.
Now here's another situation where you have a runner on first base. It's got outstanding speed. Do you run him here in a situation, try to get another runner in scoring position?
Jones 15 of 19 on the base paths.
I think you got to turn him loose here.
The order due up for the Cardinals in the bottom of the ninth, which means one more at bat for the Major League's leading home run hitter of all time in a single season.
And I believe the pitcher for the Expos in the bottom of the ninth will be the left-hander Rick DeHart. So think about this if you're watching the game. What do you do if he retires the first 2? You walk him?
He's been intentionally walked 28 times this year. How about this? Roger Maris, 1961, 61 homers, 0 intentional walks.
Roger had a pretty good hitter behind him. Of course, you know, McGwire's had good hitters behind him this year, but he's been so hot.
McGwire has never faced a Hart. Two and 1 on Seganal. 2-2. Mike Busby, the 7th Cardinals pitcher, has allowed a run here in the ninth. The leadoff triple by Cabrera came in to score on the Livingstone double for the Expos 7-6 lead. Runner goes. And the throw from Barrero, not in time. Jones steals his 16th base.
Or Dodge thought he got him out at second base. A little upset with the call there from Joe West. I'm surprised he didn't run earlier in the count. Give the hitter a little more time to get a better pick, perhaps to throw him out on or to get a base hit on. Now, I think he was safe.
Full count on Seganol. 2 outs, top of the 9th. And he swings at ball 4. So we head to the bottom of the 9th. 7-6 Montreal. McGwire due up third.
Looks like Taz just got his AT&T phone bill. Taz, don't you make a lot of calls on Sunday?
Yeah, task call.
Then use MCI 5-cent Sundays. It's just 5 cents a minute every Sunday. AT&T charges 3 times as much. Taz, just call 1-800-SUNDAY. Become an MCI customer.
Pain keeping you awake? Now the effervescent power of new Alka-Seltzer PM gives you complete relief. Alka-Seltzer Speed plus a gentle sleep aid. The 100% solution to nighttime pain. New Alka-Seltzer PM. Sleep well.
If you had $40,000, would you pay off your bills, make home improvements, or keep some for emergencies? Well, at First Plus, you can get up to $40,000 or more with no equity required. And you can get pre-qualified right now. Here's how.
Do you own your home? Do you have good credit? Do you want to pay off your bills and lower your monthly payments?
If you said yes to all 4 questions, call First Plus now. Tell them you're pre-qualified to apply for the money you need. Call First Plus at 1-800-510-PLUS.
When I put down Scott's winterizer in the fall, it allows us to develop a good, strong root base. You get a real early greening. People will stop by and say, how'd you do that? Scott's winterizer gives the grass a kickstart in the fall and makes it really look great in the spring.
The line score, Expos 7 and the Cardinals 6 as we move to the bottom of the 9th. What a terrific day in baseball, the wild card race, and Mark McGwire, 2 for 4, first inning. He struck out against Hermanson. 4th inning, number 67. Came up again with 2 outs in the 5th, and fly to Jones in center. 2 innings later, in the 7th, against Kurt Bullinger.
I love the bat. I love the bat like that.
The follow-through.
You know, this game, Kenny, has almost been like this race between Sosa and McGwire. These 2 teams this afternoon have come at you with a bunch of pitchers, a bunch of extra players. They are back and forth, and right now.
Sammy Sosa also 2 for 4. Fouled out to Bagwell in the 1st. In the 3rd, off Shane Reynolds, singles up the middle. In the 6th, strikes out. And then in the 8th, his second base hit.
On the ground, base hit left field for Sammy Sosa.
So it is now 68-66 McGwire. And unless the Cubs and Giants both win or both lose tomorrow to force a 1-game playoff, Sosa with only 1 regular season game remaining.
And this is the 7th pitcher we have seen from the Expos here this afternoon. Right-hander Rick DeHart trying to get his first save of the year.
Ground ball for the shortstop, Cabrera. He pulls Seganol off the bag, but he tags McEwing out. The 4th time today he's grounded out to short.
Here's the key at bat in the ball game right here, I think, for St. Louis, because if Drew gets out, if I'm DeHart and I'm thinking about winning the ball game, I'm not giving him anything to hit. That may sound bad, but as a pitcher trying to win a ball game, trying to get your first save, no chance. And And here's the key right here, Drew.
He has 2 hits today. A triple and a single, also drove in a run. Rick DeHart pitching in his 3rd consecutive game in this series.
Fastball, curveball, changeup from DeHart, a decent curveball. Spent 6 years in the minor leagues of Montreal.
Now 3-0 on Drew. Nobody has left Busch Stadium.
Now, if you walk him, you pretty much got to face McGwire. But this guy's got some pop, too, and I wonder if he's got the green light right here.
Strike called, 3-1.
I think if there's 2 outs, you make him take a couple of pitches, but there's only 1 out here, and you got a good hitter up at the plate.
3-2 on J.D. Drew. He's watched 5 pitches go by. 1 out, bottom 9, trailing by a run. DeHart delivers. Strike 3 called. Ball boys bringing out the new authenticated baseballs as Felipe Alou.
And I'm telling you, I hate to say this, but as a former player, I'm not giving him anything to hit for 2 reasons. Number 1, this is a guy trying to save his first ball game. He's been in the minor leagues a long time, and there are 2 outs. On deck, you've got another left-handed hitter. And against the left-handed hitter, DeHart has got to have a lot more confidence. So the question here, does he pitch to him, or does he just have the catcher sit outside 8 inches and walk him on 4 pitches, or do you intentionally walk him?
Or do you challenge McGwire, and then you're able to say, I picked up my first save by going right after.
Maybe you hit him on the first pitch. And there's lots of things to consider here. He's going down.
2 out, bottom of the 9th. As McGwire fouls it back to the screen. And in the twilight, more flashballs.
The shadows are all gone. The lights are on.
The 0-1 from DeHart. 1-1. He's hit 3 in a game twice this season. Sellout crowd on their feet. Two balls, 1 strike, and DeHart hears it from the crowd.
And the catcher once again sitting in. And if you're going to miss in, you got to miss in off the plate toward the hitter. You don't want to miss in over the middle of the plate.
The 2-1, and McGwire fouls it back, so the Cardinals now down to their final strike. McGwire with numbers 67 and 68 earlier today. 2 outs in the 9th. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Full count.
3-2 pitch. I'm throwing my best pitch in my best location. And if I miss, I'm missing off the plate.
Ground ball, third base. Andrews across to second all, and the Montreal Expos have defeated the St. Louis Cardinals in game number 161 by the score of 7-6. But a standing ovation for Mark McGwire as he hits home runs number 67 and 68 of the 1998 season. He went deep off Dustin Hermanson in the 4th, number 67. Again in the 7th off Kurt Bollinger is 68. But the Expos with a run in the top of the 9th. An RBI double by the pinch hitter Scott Livingstone win it by the score of 7-6. Our MCI play of the game is actually our MCI plays of the game.
2 home runs here by Mark McGwire. Number 67 right here. First ball swinging, a line drive sharply hit into left field. Home run number 2. With the bat up in the air. I love that bat up in the air. I think that's a great shot. Number 68. But the Cardinals come up a run short and they lose the ball game 7-6.
Urbina the win, Busby the loss to Hart. Picks up his first major league save by inducing McGwire into a ground out. He finishes 2 for 5. Well, the conclusion of this game also marks the conclusion of Baseball Saturday on FX for 1998. We're proud to have brought you these games each week, and it's been such an exciting season for all of us. We're also proud to be associated with such a talented group of people who work behind the scenes all year long to bring these games to television. Let's take a look at some of the best moments from the season and at the names of the many who made it possible. Way to break in with your new club.
Mike Piazza has his first home run as a Met.
Down the left field line. Is it enough? Gone! There it is! 62! The 2-1. Swung on. There she goes. Number 62.
Swung on and drilled to center.
65 home runs for Sammy Sosa. And on this final Saturday of the season, first in the 4th inning, number 67 off Hermanson. Then in the 7th, Bollinger on the mound, number 68. Well, tune in Fox Network for the Major League playoffs starting on Tuesday night when you will see the New York Yankees take on either the Texas Rangers or the Cleveland Indians. Fox is the exclusive home of the 1998 World Series as well as selected divisional series and league championship games. FX, the home of Mark McGwire home runs number 67 and 68. He was 2 for 5 today. Sammy Sosa 2 for 4 with a pair of singles. And we are ready for the 1999 season as Major League Baseball on FX returns for a 3rd season next year. So Mark McGwire hits 2 on this Saturday afternoon, his 67th, and then they change the sign again, number 68. Memorable performance from Busch Stadium. 1 game remaining tomorrow for McGwire and Sosa. For Ken Brett, and our entire FX crew. Kenny Albert saying so long as McGwire goes deep twice. Stay tuned for MASH.